You're listening to M.T.V.B podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects. That's movies,
television,
video games, board games.
I'm your host, Anthony, as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome. This week's episode, we're going to be talking about, an episode we did way back in season 1. We're going to do part 2 of those kids shows we grew up watching through our childhood. I'm joined around the table by the guys that love to talk about childhood TV shows. Introduce you around the table, please.
Well, my name's Howard, otherwise known as H.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, sir. Had to get you back.
Hey guys, it's Gal, aka Grey Fox.
Grey Fox, how are you, sir?
I'm alright, how are you guys?
Yeah, good, man. Good?
And Box Standard Dave.
Box Standard Dave, all known as
the Cripple.
You two have been plotting that one, haven't you?
He tried to say that in the last episode and we held it in. Don't worry, I'll cut it out for you. It's all good. Howard, how are you, sir? Thank you for coming back for season 6. You were back for season 5. So good to see you again, mate.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Guys, your lists for the kids shows, how are they?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I want to talk about my, some of them were like really, made the person I am today.
Okay. The nerd he is today. Yeah. I like that.
And there's me trying to remember what happened more than a month ago.
That's fair enough. I mean, you have a good reason for it, sir.
No, just in general, my memory is bad. I had to go and watch like a YouTube compilation of 90s and early noughties theme tunes for kid shows.
Wow. So did a lot come back to you? Or?
Oh, yeah. Then you find you can sing them all along and it's like you've never forgotten them, but I just need to jump start.
The ones I had trouble remembering was the live action ones. There were so many, but just the ones that I didn't quite remember. But the ones I've got on my list is some that I've gone back to so many times afterwards. So
no, my memory's just bad.
Yeah. You just needed that jumper start, wasn't it?
Sorry, who are you?
Suppressed memories, Dave. Suppressed memories.
You're in a good place, Dave. Don't worry. You're all good. Howard, how did you come up with your list? All good?
Yeah. Again, not as easy as it always appears to be. And under intense pressure, I have produced two lists.
Yes. And we were going to say, was it 1 or 2 lists? He's done the
Who's putting the pressure
He's
on
got
you?
a Howard special 2 list.
You guys don't know. You don't. I'm the one who personally messages him to get back on the show, and I pressure him. Like the other day, I think it was 2 days ago. Was it? Is it 1 or 2 lists? So he probably had 1, and then he had to go back and do 2.
Yeah, great. I thought I mentioned earlier, you don't need another 4-hour podcast on your hands.
Did you actually listen to the sci-fi TV episode?
I was a bit preoccupied.
Oh,
I'm catching up.
Well, that was obviously when Howard came onto the show, and then he came onto the show with 2 lists, which was, I believe, a comfort blanket one.
Yeah, that's it.
And the actual one, wasn't it?
The mind-blown list. Yeah.
So we got that again for this episode.
Sort of. I haven't categorised them quite the same. One will be Well, no, when we get to it,
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. No worries.
I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, I know, right? I love it.
I can't
That's
wait.
why we keep getting him back on.
I'm also worried about how much you're pressuring this poor man. Because now I'm imagining, have you seen The Punisher?
No one can see it at the moment, but I've got a gun to his head, right?
Yeah. Or like just blowtorch and meat behind him as he's
Can
hung
I
up.
start making 2 lists as well then?
If you want.
Oh,
Dave.
Oh,
I'm
you'd
joking,
struggle
I'm
with
Have you got the
lists,
brain
wouldn't
power for 2
No,
lists?
I don't. I struggle.
you? Are you awake?
I'm awake.
Right, so let's do the normal part. Let's have a couple of questions before we do our top 5s. So, obviously, did you guys watch a fair amount of shows back in the day then to obviously make a massive list at all? Or
Yeah. But
Yeah?
it was different, wasn't it, though? Because we were talking about this a little bit before we came on. Like, you had to come in and watch it after school or watch it before school.
Yep.
Most
And
of them.
obviously, it was a lot more limited, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Saturday mornings.
Yeah, like, my kids cannot understand
The
how-
struggle of Saturday
Well,
mornings.
no. When I said to my 7-year-old today, she was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, these are kid shows intros from when I was a kid." And I said, "Yeah, we couldn't just go on to Disney Plus and search for whatever we want. You had to sit on a sofa and wait after school to watch at the right time."
Run home as well.
Yeah, you
like,
couldn't
when they came
rewatch
home.
endless episodes of Spidey and the Amazing Spiders or whatever it is that you like, just on loop.
Spidey and the Amazing Spiders.
Yeah, I'm blanking it out.
Yeah, I think the way that kids now digest TV is completely different.
Yeah.
You haven't in Netflix and Disney Plus, and it was a treat. It was the ritual of getting home from school
And sitting down.
and sitting down in front of the TV, and if you've missed it, you've missed it. There's no going back.
But I think it's that one of the reasons that it got kids staying at home, and after like I think after 5:30 the programs go all rubbish, and the kids go out.
Home
Well,
Away
after
and
I
Neighbours,
think
yeah.
Simpsons was the last one, and then it goes all rubbish or whatever.
You've got like a family of like 3 other brothers. Did you fight over the telly?
No, we always watched the same thing. Sat down.
You were like, oh, but Pokemon's on the other channel. I don't want to watch this.
No.
I'll just go away one of his lives.
No, I'll go back. I'm not saying nothing.
But was you, like for me especially, back to what Dave just said about Saturday mornings, I used to go up quite early and like from 5:30 onwards, it would be watch an old VHS movie and then straight onto the kid shows when they started. Was you ever like hooked on it? Or were you like the active kid that, would like to go out more sort of thing? Or
There's one on my show, on my list, where like I think it starts at 6. I'll get up before 6, and then I think it was teletext just before. It would be some random thing. I can't remember with text and stuff, and I'll just be sitting there just waiting, looking at the time, and I'll bang on 6, you're finishing, and that show starts straight away, 6 on the dot. So I remember doing all that.
okay, but you'll go into it obviously when you do top 5, yeah.
I don't
Anyone
know.
else? Anyone else? Just like the early bird at all? Or
We were restricted for TV when I was a kid.
was you?
Yeah, they wanted to force me outside.
You will go outside.
Go and play. Touch
About you,
grass.
Howard?
No, I think my parents were a bit more liberal. I mean, not that I got away with murder, but I was allowed to watch a certain amount of television.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'm the complete nerd that I am today.
This is it. The shows that made us, like Gal said, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Some of them are like that laid the foundations of who I am today.
Nice.
Oh dear.
And that's why you're doing a podcast that no one listens to.
I set you up for that.
You always set me up for that line. So was there ever a show particular on like, I think going back to what Dave was saying, you were limited on a particular time, particular day that you were just like, I have to go watch this. I have to watch. Everything is going to stop because I have to make time for this show. Obviously, don't spoil it. You can obviously go into it later on. But was you ever that sort of person, like Dave and Howard said, there was no digital recording and you had to make the time for it? Was there ever a show where you were like, I have to do this? It's Friday. It's 5:30. This is my show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say this one show because, and it was in my previous sci-fi list, but Saturday, 5:30, Doctor Who.
Okay.
Borderline whether it was an out-and-out kids' TV show, because of the content of it, and especially in later years, it was more probably into the teens. But that was the absolute be-all and end-all.
Yep.
Stop for nothing. Mm-hmm. You can burn the house down. I'll still be sitting there.
I'll still be sitting there.
Yeah. We need to get this child out. No, I'm watching Doctor Who.
You leave me alone already?
Yeah.
You guys?
Yeah, there was a couple where I was like, I went above and beyond. I'll explain later on that topic. But there was things like where, I don't know if you remember, where certain TV shows, they repeat it. So
Sure,
when the
rerun.
season finish and then they'll start again. And then what used to annoy me is like you get to a bit and then they won't carry on. Like, I think a year later they'll put it on or whatever, but then they repost it. And I used to get annoyed when like this restarts again,
right?
And you're like, oh, I'm watching the same thing again. What's going on? Play
Yeah.
So there's that kind of thing kind of annoying.
Not so much like a kids' TV, I'd say, but like I definitely remember Stargate. Do you remember Stargate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down for that one.
You're talking to the father of sci-fi, Hayden. You say Stargate. You think he's got a tattoo of that somewhere?
I've never heard of it. I'll get it out.
What are you getting out there? He's getting his Stargate out.
Stargate.
Sorry.
You should be so.
Yeah. So, what was I saying?
Stargate.
Yeah.
So time had to stop for Stargate.
Yeah. Not really a kids' movie. That's why I wouldn't put it on this list.
Sure.
But yeah, this was tough.
But it was the one whilst you was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
The whole world stopped for it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that before he became Kratos.
That's true. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we were going to save this for another specific episode of M.T.V.B. We haven't done yet, but we'll do it now. We'll probably forget by the time we do the episode. Would you say that there was a specific kids show you liked where the opening theme was better than the actual show?
God damn, yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
You want to? If it's not in your top 5, you can name it.
Yeah, Pokemon.
Whoa, you actually said it was a shit show.
Wow.
No, not shit, but like it wasn't the greatest.
didn't live
It
up
was
to the
more
hype.
more for the game that I loved. But the show was just like, it just ended now recently. I don't know if you know. So we even sang it at the end of
No, we're in our 40s, G. We don't know that.
we even sang it at the end, and that was one, I loved that bit. Where we
Just
sang.
the song.
Yeah. Oh my god, it gets me goosebumps every
Didn't
time.
you have Pokemon on one of your soundtracks?
Yes. Yeah, it was. And
You were singing along then, were you?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We sang it at the end.
The
of
video game
Yeah.
soundtrack episode, I played it surprisingly for him, and he lost his shit, honestly.
And if you, there was a video Ant sent me ages ago where, what film was it? Star Wars?
it was a fight scene from The Last Jedi, and they put the theme to Pokemon in the background, and it
was
goes so fucking well. It was
amazing.
brilliant.
I think it could go with anything, but that was so amazing. But yeah, that's one I can think of. That's not on my list.
Yeah, anyone else? No? I'd say, sometimes I'd say Buffy had a better soundtrack than the show, sometimes.
Yeah, that is a good soundtrack.
That is a good one.
Yeah, but let's be honest, we did just watch it for Sarah and Michelle Gellar.
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I never, I know of Buffy. I watched a couple of them. I never got into it.
What?
I don't-
Get out, G.
I
Seriously,
had to
honestly,
leave.
I'm being honest.
Youngster!
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I think there's a reason why I haven't got any like live action TV shows in mind. I think
That's
I just
fair.
avoided it
That's
for a
fine,
while.
mate.
Buffy was on my list before I had to take it off and think,
Yeah,
I've
because it's
got
not
to do kids
It's
stuff.
not, yeah.
But yeah, that has a really good.
Was that another one with Stargate? Another one the world had to stop to watch?
I think certain points of it were, but I think my sister was so into that anyway. That
Yeah, mine was. I never really got into it myself till like later on, but my sister was well into it.
I remember
at the
some
time.
series where it was like, with certain like story arcs were happening that we all sat down and watched it. Me, my brother, and my sister. But no, not as much as Stargate. That was my thing.
That was the thing.
For me anyway. Yeah,
That was your Doctor Who.
yeah.
Nice. How do you have one at all?
Yeah, I don't know if these boys remember it, but Around the Twist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jeez, what?
Big shout out to Simon Claus. That's one of his favourite ever. That is, yeah, one of his favourite shows ever.
See,
Yeah.
I remember that song, but I can't remember what it actually was about.
Exactly. And that's the point.
Is anyone going to fill me in?
It's
Something to do with a lighthouse, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a family that lived in a lighthouse, and just strange things happened to them. Exactly as it said in the
It's literally
the
it.
theme tune. But yeah, that was it. I mean, it was a bit of pony, really, but it was a bit of fun. But yeah, it was the theme tune. You'd sing the theme tune, and then everybody would just drift off,
And then the show would come on, you'd be like,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I can remember that now.
yeah?
You need like a flashback sound effect on your board for this. I'm going to be hitting that all the time. Yeah.
Get like a remix version on there.
Memories.
Was there ever a TV show or kids TV show? Did you ever appear on any at all, or was there a kids TV show that you wanted to go on at all?
Yeah, there was loads I wanted to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was on a one ensemble shot on a children in need thing. with a Pudsey Bear and whoever was hosting it. That I don't know.
Were you the child in need?
No, I'm all right. I'm just the adult in need.
He's the adult in need now.
No, we were all sitting behind someone. Oh, Mum, that's me on TV. Did you make sure Granny and Granddad saw it? Yeah. I've never been in a kids' TV program, but I always wanted to be in Funhouse.
Oh,
yes.
I was going to say Funhouse.
Yeah.
Funhouse was so close to being on my list.
50, was it? I can't remember. I could be wrong. 50-50? Was it like school kids go against each other? I can't. The blue and red team. I'm sure it's 50-50.
I think it was like an adult by the time that came out.
Are you getting this mistaken for another one of your like battle royale?
No, it was on
Japanese
BBC.
things?
And Gladiator.
Japanese
I know
Alice in Borderland thing.
But Gladiator.
Yeah, but Gladiator is not really a kid's show.
I know, but I'm saying I watched it as a kid.
Isn't it?
I mean, you can't enroll as a kid, but I was always.
It was on for Saturday afternoons for kids, though.
There's also a lot on it for adults as well.
I was going to say, my dad used to watch it.
Yeah. There you go, see?
Wink.
Yeah.
Gladiators, are you ready?
Ready.
There you go, the accent and all.
Yeah.
So Funhouse.
Yeah,
What was yours? Gladiators.
Gladiator.
So did you know your host, yours truly, you'll know this because you're roughly the same age as me. But do you remember a TV show Saturday or Sunday morning, one of the two, called Top Banana?
It rings a bell.
If you see it on YouTube, you'll get it. I was actually on that show.
Doing?
It was so basically it's kind of like a game show for kids, but it's like set in, because it was hosted by an Australian. It was like set in the Australian outback sort of thing, and you would go and do all these little bits and bobs. Like it's like an obstacle course, and you would do things to win a prize and whatever it was. And I got my 15 minutes of fame when I was 9 years old, and basically it's like a talent show, and one girl did an impression, another girl played a musical instrument of some sort, I can't remember, and I had to do a joke. And this was the joke.
Have you got this video?
My mum has it on video.
You need to bring this up.
Yeah.
I can't ever. No.
No.
I swear she's going to post it on YouTube on, one of the last days or something. But here was the joke. So the joke was, oh, by the way, I was dressed as a cat at the time because we were the Pussycats at the time.
Hang on, Ant. I know what your jokes are like. Is it safe for...
Oh, it's safe, don't worry, yeah. So
that's what I was worried about.
So I go on, I'm on camera, and the joke was, what's pink wobbly and belongs to Granddad? And they're like, I don't know, what's pink wobbly belongs to Granddad? And I was like, Grandma. And that was it. Did a little bow. That's it. That's the only time I've ever been on TV.
Go and do other stuff, though? Or did you
That's all I ever did, and then the other guys did. So basically, I was in the Cub Scouts before I moved here, and then I had to go join the Girl Brownies to be on the show. It was more for them, but they had to have a male representative, i.e. me, of all these girls. And so the girls did the main part, but the main part was essentially like Funhouse, but it wasn't in the Funhouse. It was in like a, studio jungle, and there would be like a swamp you had to jump over, or, tightrope over sort of thing. But yeah, if you ever look on YouTube, you'll probably recognise the show, Howard.
I shall have to look.
But that was my 15 minutes of fame. I always wanted to be on Mallet's Mallet, though. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Timmy Mallet?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be on that, but unfortunately, Top Banana was the
one.
Was the one, I'm afraid.
Can I also say I still kind of want to do it? Crystal Maze.
Yeah.
I always wanted to.
That was a show I always wanted to go on.
I always wanted to do it, but I always was worried as a kid that I'd be that one sitting who'd got locked in on the first game, and they'd cut back to you looking really glum, just sitting with your arms folded.
I just wanted one of those crystal balls, man. They're fucking badass.
So if we went as a team, right, and we locked Gal in, do we get rid of a crystal to save Gal?
Yes, you would. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I know you would.
You're both winking.
We definitely need Gal for the mental challenges, don't we?
Oh, you can't do the physical one because obviously,
Oh, sick burn. On that note, last question. Howard, you'll go back to this with me again. Back in the day, we had Sky versus cable TV.
Yep.
You were either cool if you had one or the other. Did either of you have either one? And if so, obviously there was more kids shows, more kids channels for you. Did it open up your horizon for kids TV shows that you grew up with at all?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were a Sky household. As soon as it was readily available for the UK market, we were all over it. And yeah, I mean, The Simpsons, most notably.
Absolutely, yeah.
Before it hit Channel 4. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was very Americanised. I mean, there's programs on there like there was a thing called Punky Brewster. I don't know if you
I remember.
that.
Yeah,
Punky Brewster,
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, for me, it was the WWF. That's why we got that.
Yeah.
Is it quite kids? Yeah, I suppose it sort of falls into that category. Yeah, but that was the main sell for me. That and movies. But yeah, absolutely, it demolished BBC and ITV for a little while.
Yeah.
But then, interestingly, the older that you get, you find that you move away from networking. You come back to
And some of the kids shows were out on Sky and Cable before they went to BBC and ITV as well. I won't mention one in case it's in your top fives, but if not, we'll come back to it later. But do you guys have any of that at all? Or?
Well, no, we didn't have any. We had the 3 channels.
Yeah,
but my mate with his massive house, they had Sky TV.
It's massive.
And it was like Howard said, it was
we didn't have
WWF WWE
Mm.
that we used to go around and watch because my parents didn't want me to watch that.
Yeah.
And then so me and my friend and his younger brother would just like practice suplexing each other off.
Yeah.
So getting into all sorts of
Trying
trouble.
not to.
Even though so many "Don't try this at home" came up, you were just like, "Fuck
It
this."
just makes you want to do it when you're about 8.
You make a ring out of pillows.
Yeah.
And
Use a pillow as a steel chair.
yes.
That was it.
Right.
I'm saying I had
Moving on.
normal TV, but I was always wanted Sky because obviously WWF sorry at the time, and me and Goku used to always have this. I used to watch WCW on I think on Fridays. I think it was Cartoon Network.
WCW used to be on Channel 3 on Sunday.
It was on Cartoon Network. The channel changes.
It was on ITV like at 3 o'clock in the morning for a little while. WCW,
and then I had cable, and then obviously you have Cartoon Network on there, and that channel I think it turns into Toonami and then something else, and they used to show WCW. And eventually I got Sky just to watch WWE, but I can't remember any programs I was quite interested in, but. I was just watching that, and I remember the cable.
I'm sure then we might mention something. It'll come back to you. Go, oh yeah, that was on Sky. That was on cable and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
but the cable, I just remember there was just random channels where they're just porn and all this. Just like, whoa, what the fuck?
How the hell has he brought up porn?
How the hell did you just say? How the hell? Your parents
you
had
watching as a child.
You must have had the massive subscription
worried
because
about-
you had to pay extra for that shit in the end of the day. I used to stay up at midnight for the 10-minute preview because I couldn't afford it.
And whatever they were showing on Bravo.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
I'm
After
now really
11,
worried
yeah.
about it
Basic
all.
Instincts on, guys.
Oh,
How the hell did you bring that round?
It was just a
TV
memory.
show?
This is a kids episode, and you're talking about porn.
I was a kid at the
Get
time.
out of the
You're a deviant, dude.
you animal, sir.
And then Sky came out, and they had Babe Station and
Hey, okay.
He still wants this story, doesn't he?
Please, somebody think of the children. Right, that's actually my questions for that, guys. If anyone else has anything to throw in, if not, we'll go straight to top fives.
Let's do it.
Let's do this then.
It's time for a top 5.
So, obviously, this is part 2 of the kids shows we did. The episode I did my top 5 on was in season 1, episode 9, I believe, which I did with Stuart from Legends of Podcast and the Simon from Board Stupid. Hi, guys, if you're listening, if anyone's interested in my top 5, go back and listen to that episode, season 1, episode 9. The stipulation for this episode is that we're going to listen to Howard's, Dave's, and Gal's top 5 and go from there, really. If there's any mind clash, I'll jump in and say mine was in my top 5 or whatnot, but if not, we'll go from there, yeah? Let's do this. Number 5.
Number 5.
Who'd like to go first?
G.
Okay, then. Let's do it.
Go on then, Jeep.
Let me just
Get the ball rolling, son. They see you rolling.
So
Hardcore. If it has hardcore in the title, we've got to skip past you.
mine one was number 5 is Ninja Turtles.
Okay. TMNT, yeah?
Yeah, and that's the one.
Which was my number 5, so.
I was like, oh,
yeah.
nice. And that's what you were referring to earlier. It used to come on bang on at 6, and just before, like I said, I wake up before 6, and it was weird. Like
This the original series?
original
okay,
one,
yeah.
and I think it must have come out earlier, but it goes, like I said earlier, it goes on repeats, and I just fell in love with the show. I mean, I'm a massive fan right now. But
Do you still follow Ninja Turtles now?
no, not as much as I used to, but I think that era was the coolest. I think the animation at that time, it was different. Even the others on my list, I don't think anything beats it. I think now they do it in a way that there's less details in the artwork, I feel like, and it looks a bit more lazy.
Oh, you go back and there's lots of like the blunders you can spot now. But, but as a
But
kid, you were just
it
so
was like,
flabbergasted
oh my
when
God.
you're
And
like,
it was always had that flash effect. It was always like, I don't know, it just looked slick, and it was just so like adulty. For me, it felt just like, oh my God, it's not because you have two separate cartoons. You've got kiddie ones, something like Rugrats and all that, and then you've got something like these things that come out, and you're just, whoa, this is like, you know,
this is a man's cartoon.
But yeah, just I think. The
hype was real when that show came out. There wasn't a day you, as a kid, no one would be mentioning Turtles. It was just everywhere. Yeah. You know, it was. I think I mentioned in a previous episode, like, you know, I had the whole sort of T-shirt, Ninja Turtles T-shirt, and jeans. T-shirts, like socks. I had a skateboard of it at one point.
The marketing and merchandising for that was astronomical. They went all out for it.
Absolutely crazy.
And you know, some of the coolest shows as well. I know, just going off, they had the coolest toys as well. Like, yes, they're badass toys. But going back to the show, like I said, it was at a really young age. I think I must have been like 6, 7, but I can't remember as much. But it was something where I, you know, religiously got up early in the morning to watch. But I don't remember it coming on any other time apart from 6 in the morning. It was weird. I think it was on Saturdays. It was shown Saturdays.
No, when it first came out, I recall it was around about. It was on. Was it CITV or was it BBC? I can't remember. Whichever channel it was. Yeah, it was around about 4 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah, you on like something silly.
Oh, so you watched the reruns?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I watched it
like a rerun
late. So I still love it though. It wasn't.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Just every character's great. Like you
Shredder.
said,
I mean, the enemy.
Was you a Shredder or Kang fan out of the two? Which would you pick?
I'll say Shredder.
Yeah,
but it's kind of the brain one. Yeah, that always freaked me out.
Blast your turtles.
You just put him in. He always freaked me out.
Yeah,
kind of good. But yeah.
So which turtle did you want to be?
It's Donatello.
Yeah,
Donatello's badass. Donnie's the best. But at that time, I think I always liked the red one. But as I got older, Donatello was my man.
Nice.
Sorry, I know this is quite short and sweet.
That's fine. It's TMNT. We've been mentioned a bunch of times on this podcast anyway, so I think everyone knows what it is.
Well, it nearly
pretty much
made my list.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, very nearly.
And the intro for that is awesome as well.
The intro is like they felt like they put all the budget on the intro than the actual show, because you see that it's like watching an anime movie. Then the show's on, you're like, what's going on here?
But this is funny. But when I think about it, I just see the intro. Like that's what you see, because that's so like.
But again, it's back to what you're saying. As a kid, you just didn't tell back then. You were just like, the fact that you got to see it, they were on your screen, you know, mean and green. See what I did there? It was just amazing time to be a kid to watch that show, man. One
of the best eras for shows that come out. I think it must have been before. I don't know, before 90s. I'm not sure.
It was early 80s, wasn't it? Because the comics was like 84, 85, something.
Turtles, yeah, the comic was around about mid 80s, but the Turtles came at I believe it was 88, 89.
Yes, that's right. 90,
yeah, it came quite late.
I was late.
And then the movie came out for 90, so it must have been 88, 87 or something. It was out before.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Good picture. Good choice. I'll say that. Good choice. Who'd like to go next? Dave? Howard?
Don't mind.
I'll go next.
Go so, yeah.
Speaking of baby cartoons, you said it, Rugrats. Number 5.
Nice.
Is it Rugrats?
Yeah.
There's him going, fucking Rugrats is a baby show.
Sorry. I was a baby back then.
But yeah, that had a unique style as well. That Monsters, that shared a kind of
Real Monsters.
Real Monsters. Yeah. Shared like a creepy sort of animation.
Same sort of animation, wasn't it?
Yeah. That always...
Rocco's Modern Life's another one, yeah.
I just really, when I was a kid, I just really enjoyed watching that from the baby perspective.
Yeah.
And, you know, them trying to have their little adventures and stuff like that.
Angelica.
And she was always trying to bully him,
But did you know? There's a theory that the kids aren't all there. It's because it's something about Angelica. She's making it all up, sort of thing. Because... I can't remember exact theory, but it kind of makes sense.
So basically, someone's gone back and analysed the show and gone, it's actually in Angelica's head or something now.
No, I'll get it up. I'll post it up later.
That's just gonna.
It might ruin your childhood, but I just remembered.
He's going to do like some sort of Lost episode theory. They were all dead.
Spoiler.
They're all afterbirths. That's what I was waiting for him to say, man. I was like, dude, I know you're going to take this hard now.
I'll get it up. I'll get it up. Sure, it might ruin your childhood, but
well. I can barely remember my childhood now, so it's all right.
Yeah. You barely remember the shows. But that had like a catchy intro to it as well.
Yeah.
Kids used to play it in music class. Like,
Did they really?
Yeah, because it was quite easy to do. Apparently,
But that was big when it came on to Live and Kicking. I think it was on that, and then it was in you get toys and cereals. You can get like pencil cases and all that sort of shit. It was just
Well, it's part of the Nickelodeon revolution.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And I used to watch that with my brother and sister. We always used to like watching that together. So it's got, it's just good young childhood sort of cartoon that I remember watching again quite regularly. We wouldn't sit down for that one, but if it came on, we would be excited to sit.
You'd watch it, yeah.
We wouldn't be floating off doing something else,
And exactly what Howard said, it was the one that was on Sky before normal television as well. So,
and also weirdly, I know I'm diverging a little bit, but we were super excited. I think it was a PS2 game they did of Rugrats. Does anyone remember that?
I remember the PS1 game.
Or was it PS1?
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember I can't remember what console it was on, but we got a Rugrats game, and that was like...
Rugrats was big. It had its own couple movies and all that sort of stuff. I remember a cousin of mine who used to really like the show. But do you remember Reptar? Reptar was in there?
Oh, yeah, they always talked about Reptar.
Yeah,
That's it. So my cousin couldn't pronounce Reptar, so he would say retard. No, honestly, God's honest truth. It was the funniest thing ever. Hi, Cameron, if you're listening, by the way, who's in his 20s now. Sorry, I've just put you on the spot there, sir. But
didn't they used to imagine their toy dinosaur that kind of...
Reptar.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, like I say, it's an
It was
interesting...
like a Godzilla sort of...
That's it,
sorry.
Reptar.
And they're always trying to escape that little baby cage.
That's it, yeah. Damn, some stuff are coming back to me.
Yeah, see, this is what that episode's going to do for everyone.
That's it. Nostalgia overload.
Nostalgia overload. So yeah, like I say, might not be the best cartoon, but for me personally, because it was one that I enjoyed watching with my sister and brother.
Was it the one?
Would you get your kids into it as all? Or?
I don't think they'd be arsed with it.
They're so over that.
I mean, like I say, I don't know. They seem to.
It's not Paw Patrol. There's no point now, is it?
Well, it's not Paw Patrol for them. Like I say, it's this Spidey thing, but it's like kids' version of Spider-Man.
PJ Masks?
No, Spidey and their Amazing Friends or something.
Oh,
God, it's driving me crazy.
There's only one Spidey show for me on TV.
Yeah. No, you'd hate this then. Just make sure your kids don't ever watch it.
Oh, fair enough. Anything else on that?
No.
Nice. Howard, over to you, sir, number 5.
Right, well, as I am the man of two lists, this is now split into cartoons and live action.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I was a kid that I was all about the animation. I was all about cartoons. So the majority of my original list was cartoons. And then when Ant got onto me and bullied me.
Produce a second list. You will do a second one.
And I thought, fair enough, because I think anybody who tries to put a list together like this, as we will all attest, it's difficult. And now that I've got the ability to do it, there's some really good live action ones in there as well. So, what would you like first?
Let's do live
Let's
action.
go live action. We've had a couple of animated, so
I think this used to be a Tuesday or a Wednesday on ITV. Second you got home from school, Nightmare.
It was on my number 2.
Oh,
I freaking love Nightmare. It was a cracking show.
Yeah. I don't know if these two boys will remember it.
They won't know, no.
So this was, it was about 87, 88. It was long before the advent of the current computer game revolution. And what we were presented with was 20 minutes of some young Urk from the local school who would don like a shielded helmet so they couldn't see in a probably a completely bare television studio with some fat bloke with a beard sat in a chair shouting orders at them, and his 3 mates would sit around a TV screen and then direct him around the studio. But what we were looking at was this wonderful technologically advanced, I think it was CSO technology, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So basically this kid would be walking around these terrains, and it was...
It's like a dungeon crawl sort
It was
of thing.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I've seen it sit. I didn't ever watch an episode, but I've seen other people
okay.
refer to it and things.
Yeah, it was Dungeons and Dragons for the TV, and at the time, I think Anthony will agree with me, it was the best thing since sliced bread. Couldn't get enough of it.
Absolutely. It was just...
So he would just be pitched against... Like,
it's going back to that show I was telling you about. If it was on a specific day, specific time, I was there. I had made time for this show, and that was Nightmare. opening was all animated,
the
like
opening was brilliant.
Yeah, it's just it was animated, wasn't it?
It was completely animated.
It's just like a prince or a knight going up to his tower, and there's all these traps and everything. He's like, "Fuck, this is insane!"
Yeah,
wasn't
it was brilliant. Yeah. But I mean, at the time that came out, we had things. There was a particular TV show that I won't mention, but it was very fantastical. So it lent heavily to Lord of the Rings and D&D, and that's what I think that the flavour was at the time. And yeah, Nightmare really captured that.
There used to be some scary moments in that
there
show.
was. Yeah, I was talking about this earlier with my partner, and she said, "Oh, well, why Nightmare?" I said, God's sake, she's the same age as me. So I showed her a YouTube video of it, and she agreed. And the clip was the kids just walked into the room, and there's this giant skull thing with arms coming off of it. And the second the kid walks into the room, because you've got to bear in mind, we were all sat about a foot away on the TV.
Right. That's
So
right.
this thing just went, and because we all literally shat ourselves. But it was brilliant. A lot of the animation was poor.
But it was revolutionary.
But it was revolutionary at the
yeah.
time, yeah. And even to the degree where if you stay in a room for too long, your health starts diminishing. So your health is represented by a face of whatever child is there at the time with this helmet on, and then bits of the helmet would start falling off, and then their flesh would start falling off, their skull would start cracking. Yeah,
it was terrifying. Yeah,
it was pretty horrifying. Yeah, but it was brilliant.
If you didn't pick up the chicken in time, it would just disintegrate, wouldn't it?
Or take the massive pie and stick it in your satchel. Then you're a dead man. But it was great, and then just to watch these three kids trying to direct their mate, what was clearly around an empty studio. It was hilarious because they were reading off. I think it was like a semi-script.
Yes, yeah. But you had a host that would be like, "Oh, be careful when you come in here." So
the Dungeon Master Treguard, played by an actor called Hugo Myatt, who was brilliant. He played the part to a T. But yeah, looking back, it's quite comical now. But at the time, that was it.
Yeah. It was
So was that done with green screen then?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Like early green screen?
Early green screen, but we never saw the green screen, obviously. But
No,
it was
I think it was chroma key at the time. But yeah, the original green screen.
But some of the passwords to get in the door, and the kids were spell casting OPEN.
They go, oh yeah, there's something written on the floor. I don't know what it spells, and you're like, oh my god.
No, I've never.
Dude, honestly, you would have lost your mind over this show.
Yeah,
you would have loved it again. How they've not ever brought it back? I'm not, with dungeon crawling and video gaming nowadays. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
it just never
amazing. I mean, they did a 2013 YouTube special.
Oh, they did,
because I think that the guy that played Treguard, he's since passed on, but he was available for us if you can find it.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah, the remake, but I haven't seen it. But
it sounds like something they could do now, like you said.
That's what I said. It's like,
I'm
I'm amazed they don't do it now, because obviously technology now would be even
just
better.
Give them a VR headset.
Well, this is it exactly, but
so they're not just walking blindfolded around a room or something.
They can see it.
You know, like how we're all into our board games and stuff. It's like, you know, you can get kids into it more and everything. It's just that theme of it was, because I was heavily into like D&D at that age as well, because my cousin used to play it all the time. So that show was just right up the alley for me.
It was D&D on the TV,
wasn't it? Yeah. Exactly.
Apart
from the animated series, that was a good one as well.
Oh yeah. I was going to talk about that.
Oh no! Oh, sorry.
no, it's not actually on my list.
But, it's okay.
Yeah, I want to mention it for several reasons.
But no, but that's a damn good pick, mate. Like I said, it was my number 2, and I freaking love that show. I would spend so much time on that. There's reruns of it now on Challenge TV, but
oh really?
I just wish I could go back to being that kid. It's like what day it was Howard mentioned. I was like, it's that day. School's going to finish like half an hour. Nightmare's going to be on. There's a new episode. And, when that new season was announced, it was coming out. I always hated that break between the shows.
Well, nothing else existed. You just turn to start and wait for Nightmare to come back.
This is it.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of it culturally.
No, when he mentioned Nightmare, I thought something like Goosebumps or something like that.
No, it's Night spelled as in K-N-I.
Oh, right, okay.
Not Night as in a nightmare.
If you show me an image or something, I'll probably recognise it, but I've got no...
We had to live it.
I'm sure I've seen it in like other movies have referenced it and shown a clip of it.
Do you remember in the latest series when the budget kind of got bigger and there was a part where he got on top of a dragon, he would fly a dragon to the next part of the world? If you ever see it, you'll remember it, dude. It was like the best ever.
I do recall. Yeah.
It was just a big dragon he'd sit on the top of, and it would be a crappy green screen of. It wouldn't go anywhere, obviously, but you were just like, "Fuck! Look at how fast that dragon's going."
He was probably sitting on a vaulting horse or something like that.
That's it. Yeah. You never saw the bottom of it. It was just the top of the dragon. You see it where the saddle is, and you saw the wings go. And he'd fly there for a bit. And
I want to be on that dragon.
Dude, it was amazing.
No, I can't.
Yeah, don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
So yeah,
I must have completely
I
missed
watched this episode earlier, and I thought I'm going to have to watch more of this now.
just
Yeah,
just for the
I want to
listeners,
come
I'm
get a
showing
box set of it
him-
or something. It'd be amazing. But nice pick for the live action. So, what's on the animated one?
Right, so for animated, again, this is one I absolutely adored it for many reasons, and it's claymation, and it is Trapdoor.
Yeah, nice. Good shout.
Trapdoor.
Don't
right.
you open that
Trap
trap? Yeah, that was such a good opening.
Because there's something down there. Voiced by Willie Rushton, who was very famous at the time. He was kind of a poet and an author and a sort of a face for TV. Followed the adventures of a little blue character called Burke. He was kind of he was kind of like the manservant of this thing that lived up in this creepy castle.
Did we ever see him?
Yeah, there was one episode where Burke was at the door to the thing's room, and because it was always in darkness, and there was a flash of lightning, and just for that one split microsecond, they actually animated the thing.
No.
So unless you got the DVD or it's online and you actually pause it on it, you'll never know what the thing looked like.
Wow.
And I can't remember what it looked like, but I always recall that episode. I thought, oh, damn it. Record it, pause it.
Freeze frame. Oh, my God.
But the tech just wasn't good enough at the time to be able to do it.
Of course, yeah. Oh, my God. I always thought you never saw him.
No, just that one split second. So he was just this disembodied voice barking orders down at Burke. But so it was this creepy castle. Burke was like the caretaker. He'd feed the thing, and he had his little mate Boney, who was just a talking skull. And there was an oversized spider called Drat, who was kind of like the Baldric to Burke's Blackadder, if you like. But Burke is a nicer character. But yeah, it was brilliant, and it was an early example of kind of like, I think, it was like the Aardman animations morph. If you remember Morph.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it sort of belongs to that.
So the whole episode's about the trapdoor, is it?
So, thank you. Yeah, you were going there.
Because I'm confused, like, what trapdoor?
So the trapdoor, yeah, in the centre, it always usually took place in this main sort of banqueting room with some stairs that went up to the thing upstairs, and there was this trapdoor. Invariably, the trapdoor would fling open within the first 2 minutes, and then something would crawl out, and it was basically 20 minutes of buggering about trying to get this thing back down the trapdoor.
Right.
The animation was very, very good, and you believed in the creatures that crawled out of it. Some spoke, some were friendly, some were nasty, some were horrible creatures, but yeah, it was great. I absolutely loved it.
So every episode is a random creature or
Just this
something,
random
and then
creature,
he
yeah.
has to deal with it.
I remember there was one episode where the trapdoor didn't open, and literally for a split second, Burke and the rest of the characters were standing around going, well, and then it flung open because that's what you were expecting. But yeah, as a kid, yeah, it was brilliant.
It was great, man. It had a great opening, great animation, and yeah.
Again, an iconic theme tune.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I used to have this as a game for the Commodore. And yeah, and just even that was amazing. Even some of the creatures in that come out of the trapdoor were just like, wow. It's definitely one I used to love watching.
All 7 pixels of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's a great pick, man.
High tech at the time.
It was though. That's the thing. But I always remember on the opening to Trapdoor, it starts with just narrating, isn't it? It's like, you know, in this place there's a trapdoor, and then there's Burke, and he just goes, hello. And then you'd hear the thing go, Burke, feed me. And then that's the whole premise, wasn't it?
That was it. That was it. Week after week after week.
He actually looks at the camera and he's like, hello. Hello. He's such a great character, he was. That's it. It's brilliant. Damn good pick, sir.
Thank you.
We're on number 4 already. Let's go to number 4s.
Number 4.
Back to you, biggest genius. Number 4, sir.
My number 4 is Batman, the animated series.
Nice. Good pick, sir.
This one, like,
Ba-na-na-na.
I can literally sit down and watch this anime, like, intro it every single time. Like, and I think back then you had to anyway, but even now,
It's the intro you would never skip if it was on a DVD or something. You would just watch it all the way through, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you know, because it was always like dark, because it was apparently years later I learned out that they drew on a black canvas. That's why it was like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like everything is, you know, silhouetted or, you know, covered in black, and you just see the shadows, the face features. I always found it like, why does that show look so distinctive and like different to the others? And years later, I found out it's because they were drawing on black paper or something like that. But anyway, I think it still holds up so well. I can,
some of the stories are great in that show.
Oh man, one of my favorite ones. And one character. Sorry, obviously Batman. Everyone knows. I don't need to go into it, but one character I think is so underrated is Clayface.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's so
the animation on those episodes were great for then as well.
Do you remember the episode where I think it's called Perfect Murder or something, where he goes around and then he basically dies, but he pulls off a fake death. Do you remember that?
I don't recall it. No.
Oh man, it was just so cool. And some of the episodes are just like so, like I don't even think it's meant for like children.
No, it was kind of but it was bordering on those that had the comics in the 60s and the 70s, and now they've got their kids, so they'd sit their kids down and watch it, and they'd watch it with them.
There was another. I'm just going into episodes that I quite like.
Of course.
There's one where I think all the bad guys are all hunched around a table, and like I can't remember the basics of that episode, but it's all about boasting about who's the best, and then the whole twist in that whole episode is the Batman's in there as dressed up as he's dressed up as one of the Scarecrow or Clayface, and it was like, oh, what the fuck? It was like a whole bad episode of just these bad guys just talking about how they defeated Batman or something along the lines.
Yeah.
And then the twist at the end of the episode is like it's Batman in the that's mind blown, man. It's like damn, even if I watch it now, it's just like freaking awesome. But and I think you can get them now on 4K. I think you've got one.
You can get the whole bunch as a box set sort of thing. But do you know, when I was a kid, I was just confused as the timeline as to when this is meant to be taking place, because the Gotham, the cars, the outfits, so it was all very 1930s sort of stuff.
Very old.
Well, Gotham, it's kind of been...
but then Batman throws out gadgets and mobile phones and stuff. So it's like, hang about.
So the world of Batman and Superman, I mean, even with Metropolis and Superman, it's stuck in a time warp. So, I think it is modern day, but the world of Gotham...
I always thought it was like 80s, 70s vibe I was getting... When I watched it, then
really,
is it just because they're going for?
Because even if you look at the cars, it's got the like the oval, sort of.
But then things come around. It's very Art Deco, which I think is not what it's going for. And it's modern day, but it's a stylized modern day based on when Batman was originally created. I think it was 1938.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Which the style would have been very much that at the time. And the premise is that Gotham and Metropolis and all the other cities are stuck in a time warp.
Wow.
As far as that's concerned. So that's why.
One thing that always like annoyed me is like he'll put on the mask, but I never understood how he had the white eyes as a Batman. It never got explained. I always like, has he got some sort of special lens, or because
which is only ever brought up in the Nolan one in Dark Knight. It's the only time he ever does it.
Yeah, but in the show they never talk about it because he's got a piece of like cloth and he puts it on as a mask.
But it's reference to the books, though, isn't it? Because Batman doesn't have like the But black eyes like in the books, does he? It's always the white eyes in the darkness sort of thing, isn't it? But yeah.
I mean, even the Batmobile and that. I know your favourite one is
Keaton. Burton's by far.
But I always love that one, man. That long sort of.
Have you seen the new trailer?
I have, dude. Have I ever? And he's going to be like, "Yeah, fuck Christian Bale" when he goes and sees it. I know you will.
No, I won't.
Yes, you will. Because it's always Keaton. It's always been Keaton.
I am Batman.
That's it. Exactly. He always was. But anyway, talking about the series. The series was the show that created as well as introduced Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was in the comic books.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that show, we wouldn't have Mr. J.
Yeah. Oh, she says something. Honey. Oh, I can't remember. There's a catchphrase he calls her as well. Honey bun. No, I'm probably killing that. Sorry. There's something.
You've got so many comic book fans going, "It's this, you fucking idiot."
I was going to say one more thing.
So without that TV series, you would have deprived all of those women the chance to dress up and cosplay.
Absolutely. So they have this TV series to thank for it.
That's true.
And that would have been a travesty. But I mean, that TV series, because before that, all we had was Keaton's Batman, which was great. Which was great. But
don't leap at him, man.
Oh, he's giving you evils now.
Yeah, but what year did this TV series come out?
94?
No, it was 92.
Was it?
Yeah, it was 92.
Wow.
Or could be correct, 91, but it was 91, 92. And Oh no, I think I'm lying. Oh no, I think
what
my
happened?
knowledge is going to skew. However, what I'm trying to refer to
Okay,
is the fact that all we had was Keaton and Adam West.
Of course, yeah.
So when this cartoon rolled around,
Yeah.
and as G's been saying, it was very dark and stylized and quite adult in its theme. It was totally different to a lot of what had come before.
As a kid, I always watched it and I thought this is a bit like teenager or an older person should be watching it. But I was like, oh man, look, I'm watching all these sort of violence.
I'm the cool kid.
But look, it's strange that no one ever talked about Batman back in the days for some reason. I don't know. I never,
Oh, mate, I did. Big time.
When I grew up, no one was talking about it. But maybe because it was out for a long, I don't know. But
I think it was just in that sort of blank period, wasn't it, where superheroes weren't really that big when we were kids.
Well, don't forget, going back to what Hal was saying when it was released, it was kind of in the gap between the Keaton and Val Kilmer phase as well. So it was like your fixture for a good 3-4 years between the two movies.
Yeah.
So that was what people were watching until the new movie came out, essentially.
But superheroes weren't as much in pop culture, though.
Of course not.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. We had to rely on our Jumanjis and Independence Days for summer movies.
I know as everyone's got their favourite Batmans, but his voice is awesome, and I think they use it in
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah,
Late great Kevin Conroy, should we say?
It's a shame, but it's just Batman.
The man who was Batman but never actually played Batman.
Yes, he did.
Did he?
He did.
In what?
In the recent crossover with The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow and all of that.
On the TV series.
He played future Batman. I don't think he donned any costume.
Right.
Yeah, he was a version of. He used this grey-haired old version of Batman.
Oh, wow, okay. There we go. That's why I'm glad he's here. Because I never knew that.
For exactly that reason. Because he is considered one of the Batmen. They said, play the man.
Mm.
But I won't spoil it. I'll let you watch that. It was The Flash, Green Arrow, Legends, Supergirl, and
It's when they did a crossover. Was it for the Crisis on Infinite Earth thing? Was it?
Yeah.
Was it for that?
Yes, the actual proper version of Crisis on Infinite Earth. Because they did something a few years earlier. And it was good. It was a nice little crossover. But yeah, this was the proper story.
This is the better one.
Oh, Batgirl. That was the other one. Batgirl.
Okay.
Yeah, I think going back to my older, I'm probably saying it again, but like from all my other lists, like this one that like obviously you mentioned the style. I think because of the style they chose, if you watch it now, it still kind of holds up. Like if you watch, like I said earlier, TMT or any of the older cartoon shows, if you watched like apart from the intro, like you said, the episodes there's the quality is not there. But this one, I feel like the quality is still true. Like it still holds up. I think it's because of what I said, like they drew on that black sort of canvas, and if you've got it on photo, if anyone's got to watch it now, it still holds up. It doesn't look like something out now, but it's still good. Something that came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where if you put it in front of a kid now, you'd be like, you wouldn't have known this came out 30 years ago.
Yeah, so it's got the same sort of attention to details to it as well.
And it spawned so many TV shows after that.
Beyond,
Beyond. So the Batman that Kevin Conroy played, he was the old.
Yeah, the old.
Right, okay, right.
But I've come on from that because I was very much a Superman fan, and I enjoyed the more lighter version of the Superman Adventures, and then Justice League Unlimited. It was all based on the Tim-verse.
Does it all continue though? Does it? Crossovers?
I mean, some series were created long after some of the others had ended, but it all continued throughout all of those cartoons.
I know Batman animated series continues onto Beyond because I think Joker,
there were a few crossovers.
Yeah, and the Joker comes back in the Beyond. It's meant to be cool. Yeah,
nice, good pick, sir.
Had to mention that one.
Yeah, he's got to be done, mate.
Yeah,
David.
I should have gone before you because my number 4 is a very. I don't even know if this existed or if this is something I just remember, and I'm not even sure what it's called.
So you just made one up?
Yeah. Well, you might
best
know.
way to make a list.
And it's interesting that you brought up Nightmare because it was my version of that for me, and it was called Raven, and it was a kids' adventure TV show, right? And you had this guy, and if you were watching back now, it looks super lame, but he was dressed up in sort of like the Night's Watch from Game of Thrones, right? And he's got raven feathers, and he was called Raven or something like that, something badass back in the day. And it was like you were saying with Nightmare, it was that sort of thing for me. So it was like these kids had to go into a forest and do like little games to sort of pass through levels, and it probably ripped off Nightmare, to be
Right.
Frank, because they, like, for example, the one that always, there was like, they had to go up, climb up a tree, and then they had to do like a jump off with a harness and things like that to try and grab stuff and things like that. But it was all done with that fantasy sort of slant of, you know, like...
Was it green screen as well, or was it all like...
No, it was in a forest, but there was like...
Oh, like live action?
They had, live action, yeah.
Oh, I think
there's a guy dressed up, he had raven, like a cloak and raven feathers, and it was like a fantasy...
BBC, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I remember.
Oh, hang on. This is
what I'm saying. In my head, I don't know anyone else who watched it, but I really love that because it was that sort of nightmare thing for me, because it was like taking kids and putting them into that fantasy setting. And then
what channel was this on?
I think it was BBC, but
I'm sure it was BBC. I remember what you're explaining.
Do you remember? And like, and they were always trying to find letters to get a password to succeed at the end or something, I think. And then they had to like jump onto stepping stones, to spell out whatever's the right word. And I remember, like, if they got it wrong, they'd jump onto a stepping stone, then they'd use some techno wizardry, and the kid would just like just disintegrate or fade out, and they would be lost forever.
What you're describing is in my head.
Do you remember what I mean?
Yeah,
like I say, but every time I've mentioned it to anyone else, like even my brother or sister, they're like,
I need to see like a video or logo of this.
I'll have to find it, but like I say, and it's a very niche, small thing, and it probably ripped off Nightmare, but
but then Nightmare was a rip off of something on BBC called The Adventure Game, which came about a decade before.
Maybe it's that Raven the Adventure Game.
No, but like I say, it was just it filled that sort of vibe for me that you were just discussing, Howard, with like.
I think it's a format that no matter what comes afterwards and how technologically advanced you can be with your cartoons and your TV programs, it's stuff like that people just enjoy.
But it was just the fact that when I was a young kid, and it was like, oh, have they got enough? You know, they're going to have to try and guess the rest of the password on what they jumped because they didn't do well enough in the previous games, kind of thing. And then it's like they get to that point, and then it's like, oh no, you haven't guessed the right number, and the kid just stands there sort of forlornly, and then that fade away.
Oh, the little
and he's like, now they've been lost forever. It's like, Jesus, shit. Anyway, so yeah, I can't remember.
Shit, you need to dig this out because I'm
going to have to do some intense.
Go on a hunt for this.
I think this is well beyond our. I think we were like full of grown adults. When
I think I was down the pub when this came. Yeah,
I was in the clubs getting pussy at the time.
I recognised what you explained.
No, I wasn't.
I recognised what you're explaining, but no.
Thank you. Somebody is validating my insanity. This fever dream that I was worried about putting on the list because I thought
maybe you just dreamt it.
Maybe I just dreamt it, but I've dreamt it convincingly enough that I've sold it to you.
If you believe it's real,
into G's. No, because I've incepted it into G's mind. It's real.
Now I'm going to Google it when I go home.
You just got incepted. So. Anything else on that stuff?
No.
So it might be real, might not be. But anyone who
was real to me, and it's on my list.
Anyone who has seen it, obviously comment below. Let us know on the podcast if you've seen it.
Going to have seen it.
We just got
help Dave bring us to reality. Howard, over to you, sir. Live action, sir.
Live action, right. So, I'm considering it live action, even though it's used a particular type of, I'll say animation, but it's Terrorhawks.
With Zelda? She scared the shit out of me as a kid.
So I was looking back at some photos on Google because I haven't seen it for many, many years. But it was one of those programs where, again, you sat down, you watched it, and you nothing, the world would stop for it. But yeah, that bloody puppet, I think it actually gave me nightmares.
Yeah, big time.
It was fucking horrifying. If you after go and just take a look at it, Terrorhawks Zelda, and this thing when you're like 5-6 years old, Jesus Christ. But so Zelda was the alien bad. I'll say bad guy. She was a lady who was attacking Earth, and then there was this fighting force set in America, as always, called the Terrorhawks. Now it was that's the thing. It was very Thunderbirds because it was made by Jerry Anderson.
I was about to say, was it Jerry Anderson?
It was a Jerry Anderson production, yeah. So it was Thunderbirds for a new generation. But I mean, like Dave just showed G that picture.
Yeah, she's scaring me now, man. So it's scared the shit out of me, mate.
Program's like puppets, is it?
Yeah, so it's a Thunderbirds.
Look at that picture, G.
Jesus,
that looks like
something out of Saw.
That's what I'm saying. This is on during 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
or something.
What the hell? Yeah, it looks like your scrotum after a really bad day.
Jesus, that's freaky.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was my Thunderbirds before Thunderbirds came on TV with the repeats on BBC Two.
Sure.
So you had the Terrorhawks who were defending the Earth against the alien invasions of Zelda. They were led by Dr. Tiger Neinstein. What a name.
Yeah.
Never had a first name. And everybody was sort of named after hawks or birds. You had Kestrel and I can't even remember the names now.
No, I
should have done my research.
I'm still thinking about the name. Tiger Neinstein.
Dr. Tiger
Dude,
Neinstein.
this is on Amazon Prime if you ever want to sit and watch it.
Go for
It's
it,
actually,
yeah.
the whole shebang is on Amazon Prime if you ever want to sit and watch
Terrorhawks,
it.
yeah.
Terrorhawks.
Did you know?
What's...
'Cause I've got it in
Oh.
front of me and I'm Googling it. Set in the year 2020.
Oh,
No.
That's what it says here at the top of Google. In the year 2020, follow the adventures of Terrorhawks, a task force responsible for protecting
Fucking hell.
Earth from invasion by a group of extraterrestrial androids and aliens.
Does it say
by
what
Zelda.
does it say what year the show was out?
it was about 84, 85, something like that.
83.
Wow.
First episode date, 3rd of October, 1983.
Wow.
So has it got the whole sort of like vehicles like Thunderbirds and stuff
Yeah,
like
so they were, again, all bird-based, hawk-based, but the whole shebang. I think they had more vehicles than Thunderbirds. Obviously, Thunderbirds only went up to
I've
5
never
or
heard
6.
of this, honestly.
You must watch it. If you like that sort of thing,
Yeah.
I think you'll get a bit of a
My
kick out
favourite puppet, I don't know.
But it's very dated, so don't expect like.
of it. It looks awful, but
I
it's,
don't
it's
want to
brilliant.
mention
It's
it, might
absolutely
be,
brilliant.
but
I always
Captain
thought
Scarlet.
Captain, yes,
Captain
yes.
Scarlet was my
That's
thing.
my
yeah.
number 3.
But
He's-
yeah, the budget.
Oh, jeez.
The budget doesn't feel as big for Terrorhawks as the other previous shows
it's-
that Jerry Anderson did.
It's not as polished.
So
No.
did it come before or after?
It's after.
After. Oh, yeah, all of the originals were like in the 60s and 70s. So. But yeah, Captain Scarlet was the man. He's my favourite of all the Jerry Anderson.
Yeah,
Same.
Captain Scarlet. Dun, dun,
Just save it for my number 3, dude.
Sorry. Is it really? Or are you messing me?
I'm not messing you.
Oh, fuck off.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much really else to tell about it. It's Thunderbirds for the 80s generation.
I'm going to
and-
put it on my
Yeah, have a look, mate.
Amazon.
Yeah, it's, the vehicles were great. The good guys, the Terrorhawks, had the spheroids. So these were these metal balls with eyes who were like the army. You had Sergeant Major Zero, and I think you had like Corporal 101. But these were spheres, talking spheres with personalities, because it was a bit tongue-in-cheek, whereas Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet was quite straight-laced and very straightforward and drama-led. This was, it had a bit of comedy to it as well. So they were the comedic element, and the bad guys had the cuboids, or the cubes, and they were very mean and nasty, and they had frowns on their faces. But yeah, as a young kid, I loved it. It was brilliant.
Yeah. As I say, apart from Zelda, it was, I literally had to get a pillow
I think
for when I watched it. It was like,
Zelda had a daughter, and she was called Sister, and they all had silly names like that, and it was all very pronunciation based. But there was this horrendous, I don't know if you could look it up, but there was this horrendous creature. It was called like Zorg or Borg or something like that, and he was the thing that they would unleash when they wanted to literally decimate Terrorhawks. And again, this thing was horrifying.
More than that?
No, about on the same. Well, I don't know, probably more. Yeah, I mean, I'm just working from memory at the moment because until I did my research earlier today to do this show, I'd forgotten how much I'd forgotten about the program. But now it's one of those things I'm going to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, I'll put it on my list. So I might give it a go.
But yeah, they defrosted this thing. I think it was her son. They defrosted this thing from ice, and I just remember it slowly turning, and it had drool dripping from his teeth. And
Jesus.
I think even a kid, I'm like, oh my god, I don't know.
How they get away with it back then is just crazy.
Oh yeah.
I thought you found it then.
I thought you were looking at it.
I was looking for it. Yeah, I was just
texting.
Okay.
I was looking for it. I was just trying to find one with drool hanging out of its mouth.
Oh, right.
Good Pixar. What's the animated one?
So this is one that we should all know is the real Ghostbusters.
Yes. All right.
The animated show.
Yeah.
Animated show. Yeah.
You do know it was animated once, all right? After the movies.
I thought it was the movies, then the TV show came
It was.
out. Oh, okay, yeah. I know the show,
But why couldn't they call it Ghostbusters?
So in between Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, so Ghostbusters was 84, Ghostbusters 2 was 89, and in between we had this TV program, and I think it was 85, 86, something like that. It was brilliant, but yeah, the reason they had to call it the real Ghostbusters is because at exactly the same time, and probably on the announcement that they were going to produce this show, was it Nelvana or Filmation? One of the other big companies at the time produced a cartoon called Ghostbusters.
Okay.
However, This was actually based on a TV program that came before in the 70s called Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the ape and everything.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So it looked like Wacky Races, but with
something like that,
Hanna-Barbera sort of animation to it, wasn't it?
with names American names at the time. So it was an original creation long before the film we know as Ghostbusters.
Sure.
But yeah, they kind of kiboshed
So
the show at the time by
the film
catching
came
them
out, Ghostbusters.
that we know, yeah.
Yeah, and then
The cartoon.
the real Ghostbusters.
The real
came out.
Ghostbusters cartoon.
But surely that's the same franchise, no? So
It's the same franchise
how did someone else get?
because they trademarked it.
Oh, right, okay. So
Plus,
they
and they didn't. They wanted to differentiate that cartoon from the other one because if they both called their cartoons Ghostbusters,
no one's gonna. Yeah.
well, it's not that. I think that the kids would have sat down and blissfully unaware watched the other TV show, thinking
knowing.
instead of the actual Ghostbusters they
it's
want
the
to
film
watch.
franchise. Yeah. But
Is it a bit of that, like, you just before they release like a big film, you always see like
the shit version comes out,
a shit version, like a real budget version that's named very similar
to ride off the marketing and the franchise.
It's for those grandmas who go, "Oh yeah, my grandson likes this film. I didn't buy it for Christmas." And
it's like when your parents used to go to the shop and you wanted Coca-Cola, they would come back with Roller Cola.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was always like Wicked Blockbuster. There was always like, for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Sixth Day would come out, and then there would be this shitty other thing called The Sixth Hour, and people would get that instead of that sort of thing. So
were you over there like
Ghostbusters?
Ghost Bastards.
You go, Mum, I want to Coca-Cola. Yeah, but this is cheaper. Exactly.
Yeah. But this show kicked ass. Real Ghostbusters had a cracking opening into it.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, the show itself was amazing. And again, much the same as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was designed to sell toys and comic books and God knows what else. But
that's all it was, though. If you think about logic, it's like a marketing tool.
Of course it was.
Always
of course it
A
was.
lot of the shows on my cartoon list were designed for that reason.
Yeah, and most of my shows had the best toys.
Yeah,
and they're still the best toys ever.
They are.
I'll go in on this. Oh my god, yeah.
But, I mean, what else do you want me to say about Real Ghostbusters that we don't already know, really? It was just a great show. It rode off the back of an amazing film that everybody loved. And, I still watch it to this day when I catch it on TV.
Yeah. I remember they put the whole series on Netflix at one point, and I remember introducing it to my daughter at the time, and she just... Slimer's used a lot better in this than the film. I mean,
of course he is,
he's kind of like the bad guy in the film, well, the first one anyway, but then...
Now he's a character.
Yeah, he's the actual character that helps the Ghostbusters in, isn't he? Yeah.
What I always loved is, does anybody remember Garfield the cartoon?
Yes.
Garfield the cat.
Yeah.
So the voice of Garfield the cat did the voice of Peter Venkman in the cartoon, a guy called Lorenzo Music. And he did a very good job, sounded exactly like... Oh my God, I've completely forgotten his name. The actor of Peter Venkman in
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray sounded exactly like Bill Murray. And then later years, when the Garfield film came out, Garfield the cat was voiced by
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. For that, is that
Oh
right?
shit! Yeah. They say that was Howard's Did You Know?
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's more where that came from.
Wow! How is that?
Yeah.
That's Libby. They kind of
nod.
used him, and I'm like, no.
But I think they did that because Lorenzo Music had passed on by that time.
Okay.
But it was just a nice little touch to link the two.
Is that actually his name?
Lorenzo Music.
That sounds made up.
Good thing his surname wasn't Oil. Lorenzo's Oil. Any more on that, sir?
No, I mean, we could talk about Ghostbusters all day long.
Yeah, of course you can. You're going to call, right?
If you know the film, you know the cartoon. And
it's just like TMT.
You know the toys.
But what I liked, because the cartoon, especially when Ghostbusters 2 rolled around and the most recent edition with Afterlife, is that a lot of what you see in those two films sort of stylized themselves after the cartoon, because the cartoon had become very famous for kids, and the kids were all about the cartoon. They might not have necessarily seen the film. So like Egon's appearance in Ghostbusters 2 with his hair and the way that he acted, it was based on the characterization of the cartoon character.
Wow, to get the kids to go, well, that's Egon, that's such and such. Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, nice. So back to Big Girl with the number 3.
Number 3.
Come on, Big Girl. Another animated pick.
I lied. I've got one live action.
Oh.
I didn't put it in there last minute, and it's Go Power Rangers.
See, that's what I was going to say. That's why I didn't mention it earlier.
So, come on, man. Am I right? It used to come on just after this Muscle Man program, this trainer guy. Do you remember on Saturdays?
You mean Mr. Motivator?
Mr. Motivator. Was it before or after? I don't know.
Could have been.
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah, because I think you used to sit waiting for this guy.
Because you're sitting for him to get the fucking motivation done. You're like, come on, my Power Rangers
I've
on.
finished my breakfast now. Can you hurry up?
And I used to imagine, Muscle Man,
Yeah.
Mr. Motivator.
Yeah.
No.
Is that?
No, yeah, that's who you're talking about. But yeah, if that's your idea of a muscle man, mate, come on.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember what his name was. I just remember he was this black guy with like tights on with the glasses.
Yeah,
He looked like
yeah.
MC Hammer, but just with.
Oh no, he was great. He was great and entertaining. But yeah,
Yeah, and this show is again. I think it's got this catchy, one of the catchiest intros. I think, and I still think it's had one of the best toys.
100%.
It had one of the best
100%.
toys. Like I think everyone was going mad for this. The fact that almost like Transformers, but like I think it just. I don't know. I feel like it was.
Transformers is a big influence, especially on the Zords factor of it, definitely. But as a show, this was the one where if you had Sky, you had it a year before terrestrial television.
Yeah.
So when the reruns came onto the show, onto like I can't remember if it was BBC or ITV, one of the two, you'd seen it all already.
Yeah.
Like by the time we had the 5 Rangers, we were already on the Green Ranger on Sky. Yeah. So it was just like. But I remember sitting there watching it as a kid, thinking this doesn't feel right. There's something like it's been cut differently, or
yes, I know what you're talking about.
Right?
It's because so they've shot the live American people separate, and the ones that are in the suit are actually Japanese or something.
Japanese,
yeah. I think you told me that.
This was a Japanese program.
Yeah, and then
the Americans took. And what's interesting is the same thing happened with the original Godzilla film back in the 50s. So you had the original Gojira. With Japanese actors and Japanese characters. It was all in Japanese, and then the Americans took it and thought, this is great, we love this, and then stuck in the one American actor where all the scenes were filmed long after the film, and inserted him, and then made it a sort of an Americanized story. The same thing happened with Power Rangers. So it was a Japanese show, and then about a year or so later, or 2 years later, the Americans went, we can market this,
we can rob this, yeah,
and that's exactly what
because it was weird, because the guys in the suit were always like kind of slimmer than I don't know. I never clocked on.
It never clocked onto like the
on. I was just like, oh, this is sick. Like like especially when how clever like they do the the big monsters, and they're like, oh yeah.
It was everything you wanted as a kid. You had the bright lights, you had the music, you had the kung fu, you had the monsters, you had the Zords. It was just. Yeah, it was,
and the music.
That was a kid's show.
Kind of just pumps you up, ready for it. Like, let's do this.
Opening by far, man. And the thing is that it's got such a massive fan base to it now that people. I think it still carries on, but it's not like Power Rangers. It's like Power Rangers Zero or it's Power Rangers Dragon Force, something like that. It's crazy how it still goes today.
Still massive though.
And how obviously what's his name died recently. Green Ranger died last year, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
And they're doing a big reunion to Netflix this year and something.
Yeah.
So it's I can't believe it's still going.
And they're still making movies. Do you remember the movie that came out?
The movie was kick ass. It's so fucking shit, but it kicked ass in '95. I don't care what anyone says.
That film was like, I went to cinema. I was like, this is sick.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know when they come down on the what's it called, some sort of skating thing, they just come out of the plane.
That's it.
And the ninja suit. It's like, what the hell, man? This is sick.
So do you remember the bad guy in that, Ivan Ooze?
Ivan Ooze, yeah.
So Ivan Ooze was played by Paul Freeman from Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
Right?
Was he?
Yep. So he come through Gatwick once. Okay, Paul. So I could have mentioned any other character of Paul Freeman's, cinematography, right?
Well,
and I got to go, sir, Ivan Ooze. And he was like, yes. But I was like, oh no, and Bellark and whatnot as well.
That was a low point for me.
Exactly. It was like, Jesus, he probably told his publicist or something like, oh, fucking hell.
Going back to one of your Toy Stories, I remember telling my mum to get me one of the Power Rangers toys. Do you remember alongside Power Rangers, they did this other one? It's sort of like they kind of take forms of like bugs or something. I can't remember. It's something.
That's the latest series of it. It's not
she got me like completely different toy, and I was just like really annoyed. And one. I was just like,
you were Eric Cartman going, I want the yellow Mega Man! I was just like, get the fuck out!
But the coolest toy, I swear to God, like, do you remember the one that it's almost like a red dragon, but it's like a Chinese dragon?
Yeah. That's it. That was the part.
And then morphs into the actual the best toy I've ever had.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, it's just it's like I said. I still play a lot of the. There's like a brilliant board game of Power Rangers, Power Grid, something like that. It's called that. I've played with the guys from Meeple Minded and Legends Podcast, and they're such massive fans of it. They buy all the expansions. They buy. I think there's a comic book going still of Power Rangers now. Yeah. It's just incredible. I'm kind of gutted I'm not like into it as much as I was a kid, but it's still like, I'll play Power Rangers. I'll play a deck builder. I don't care. It's Power Rangers.
A couple of years ago, I don't know if you know, they restarted the comic book or something.
That's what I'm just saying. Yeah,
it's still going.
Yeah,
it's still very popular as well.
Who's your favourite Ranger?
I think
Kimberly, of course. Come on. She wasn't my favourite Ranger, but she was my favourite. Yeah. Yes.
Yours?
I didn't get into Power Rangers.
Shut the front door.
Right, let's mute his mic for a second.
So get this guy out, man.
Did you right? I'm not going to go too much into this, but do you ever go back and realise how the black guy was the Black Ranger and the Chinese girl was the Yellow Ranger?
Yeah.
That was a bit. Come on,
that was a bit.
So bad.
100%.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I think mine was Green Ranger, Jason Frank.
Yes,
Tom
of course.
Green or White Ranger, though? I know it's the same.
No, green, I think.
Yeah.
White, he just got up his own arse.
Yeah. I love the way he calls his Zord, like he has to play that flute.
What I always made me love
Dragon Zord,
that's just Godzilla, isn't it? It comes out of what?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just to summon the beast. But he would play that float through his helmet with no lips.
Yes, that's right.
How?
That's right.
How? Like years later, not years later. Like I remember watching like older Godzilla films. So why is he coming out of the water? Because they're copying Dragon Ball. They're copying Power Rangers. What's going on? And then I realised because
it was homage to him. Yeah. But do you remember the first time Dragon Zord opened up and he connected to the actual Megazord? I lost my shit. And he had that massive spear with a drill on it. God fucking damn, that was so cool.
How could this get any better? That's how.
And yeah. Just give me reruns of that shit any day. Go on, give me a putty sound. I dare you.
Huh?
Give me a putty sound.
Putty. Oh no. But do you, you put me off of what I was going to say. One of the villains, the Goldie, is it Goldie? Goldar. That's what they based the film on, right? Right now, the recent film that's come out.
Yes, yeah. He's the big metal. You're talking about the recent remake, aren't you? The Americanized one, yeah.
And the green bad woman that's meant to come.
So Rita, they made out she was like the original Green Ranger in that film, which I'm not sure if it's canon or not. But I thought it was a smart idea. It was kind of cool, but it's the movie's not too bad, and honestly, it's just it's a shame it just
because people were like, "Oh, it's Power Rangers."
I was proud to go see it at the cinema. I'll go see. I back Power Rangers today. It took me back to '95 when I watched that awesome Ivan Ooze version. But hey, Power Rangers, man,
all about Lord Zed for me.
Yes, he was badass. I mean, he was the new guy that took over Rita.
His suit was pretty awesome, though.
Oh, it was
almost like a flesh, but with like bones, like the metal bones.
The skull sort of face that he had. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
But there's a part where I think later in the series where I don't know why, or they only made one suit, but you can tell it's sort of like wearing out. You can see bits of it falling apart.
Oh, really?
There's a part, he used to point his staff to make the monster bigger. There's a part where he points it and it's literally stuck together with duct tape because it's falling apart. Yeah, it was bad. This is what happens when you put shit in HD. It's like ruins everything now. That was the budget though, wasn't it? That's crazy. But how good was it? They took something from Japan, made it their own show,
and you've never realised it then. That's now.
Good pick, sir. Good pick.
No worries.
Dave, number 3, sir.
Captain Scarlet.
Thanks, G.
I'm so sorry. I thought.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, Captain Scarlet. I was always I preferred that to Thunderbirds personally.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think I said on a previous TV show I'd love to have that as a modern day remake, like Battlestar Galactica. Do sort of that thing.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
With Captain Scarlet, right? How good would that be?
A live action or
live action by far. Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's your list, but the reason why I didn't put it in there because I thought like I wouldn't remember because it was one of my earliest TV shows. I remember. But the only thing that I remember Captain Scarlet, and then I remember those Mysterions.
Yeah.
I can't remember any episode. So I was like, I couldn't talk about it, so that's why I didn't. But it's up. It should be up there, but I couldn't.
Why is it on yours?
The voice of the mystery.
Yeah,
because it was just it had something, didn't it? Like Thunderbirds. Whereas this is a different thing, and it's a bit more sort of light-hearted. This always felt a bit Like, do you remember the opening credits for that?
Yeah. Doesn't he
creepy.
get shot and then the lights go across?
You get shot.
Footsteps.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then you see the two lights, which were obviously just someone shining a torch.
What's the sound for that? Or some weird sort of humming
I'll
sound.
play it to you
for
when
it.
we're
It was like a Martian-y sort of sound,
Yeah.
and you had the same voice. You never saw a Mr. On, though, did you?
That's
Ever?
what I loved about it, because you're always thinking that we're going to see it, but you never.
And it's
No,
that
you
old,
never-
you don't show it. You just see the eyes or the circles, coming across. Just always, as a kid, just really sort of was creepy
Yeah.
and gripping.
It was Captain Black.
Yeah.
Dude, he was the Zelda of Captain Scarlet.
Very creepy. You like whenever he came on, you're like, I feel a bit unnerved. Even as a kid, you thought, oh, this is.
Again, another Toy Story. I'll ask for Captain Scarlet. I got the blue guy. There's a mate.
He's cool because he
He's
had
cool.
the SPV, didn't he?
I ended up
He did,
liking him like after the. But I wanted Captain Scarlet, and my mum goes and get me the blue guy, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think I asked for Captain's car, the red one.
Yeah.
And they gave me one of the angels. I'm like, fuck this.
You know, when you had to,
interestingly,
you had to
Yeah.
go dressed up as someone for school when you're in like primary school. I went dressed as Captain
No
Scott.
way.
yeah.
My
Awesome,
mum went
man.
to town on that outfit as well.
Yeah?
Had, like the little hat as well.
Oh, no way.
The little like.
You've got to have a dug out a picture of that.
There
or
is a
something,
picture
mate.
somewhere.
Yeah?
You might have to go and like raid my actual
Raid the
parents' house
barracks
for
of
it.
the loft. But how did he become indestructible again?
So he was possessed the same as Captain Black. And then I think the episode ended where he was on top of a scaffold or something like that with the very first episode, and he fell. He was either shot or he fell, and then he didn't die. So that's why he's the indestructible Captain Scarlet.
Yeah.
So when he woke up, he'd regained himself. He was himself again, but he was now indestructible. He'd retained the powers that the Mr. Ones had given him. So yeah, that was the premise basically. He couldn't be killed.
Yeah.
And he was now this weapon to defeat the Mr. Ones, using their own power against them.
Did they ever... was there ever an ending to it? Or
Can't remember.
I can't either, do you know?
I don't remember. No, I think it went on with possibly with the premise of doing a season 2, but yeah, just never materialized.
Never reached. I remember...
the theme tune as well for that.
Which one?
Talking
At
about
the end?
Yeah,
Scarlet.
there we go.
Dum,
Yeah.
dum,
I will remember that
Yeah.
till forever.
Do you know what I remember? I always remember the opening, like going back to what
Yeah.
you were saying.
This is the voice of the Mr.
But then you go to
Yeah.
the part where it says Captain Black, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always think, I don't know why I say Agent Black, but it's Captain Black. But there's a part, obviously, where the opening ends and it zooms in.
Yeah.
Dun dun bum 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 bum. And it goes right up to Captain Black's face. Fucking scared the shit out of me. I always used to cover myself
And it's
on that part.
it's puppets, isn't it? So
It's all puppets, yeah. All
very
models,
lifeless.
puppets.
But when
Always-
you're a kid, though,
Yeah.
that is something, isn't it?
And you know when they go to flip a switch or something, it's someone
Yeah.
else's hand.
That's
Like,
a hand, yeah.
you're like, wait, hang on about that. Doesn't look right.
That's it.
Yeah, but they'd always spray it with water, so it looked like it was
Yeah.
plastic. Yeah.
But it's such a great concept. Like you had the base was up in the sky, wasn't it? You had
Yeah.
the angels that they flew out,
I think it was in
whatnot.
called Skybase.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just. I wish they continued with it, honestly, or make a live action version of it. It would just be so
Settings
good.
like because it was kind of came out in a futuristic time, doesn't
Just
it? So it
modernize
makes-
it. It'd be great.
Awesome.
Be kick ass.
But I was thinking, because I was thinking I've got to put something on there. And I was thinking all the ones that I enjoyed when I was a young kid. Captain Scarlet, Thunderbirds, Stingray as well.
Yeah,
Thunderbirds was good for the toys,
Yeah.
but Captain Scarlet for story, I just felt was way better.
Well, the reason I put it on my list was because I thought, which one stuck with me for whatever reason as a kid? And it was Captain
Yeah, same.
Scarlet.
Scarlet's stuck with me more than
I
Thunderbird.
I always liked the end credits because the end credits were
They were drawn.
I was
Yeah.
going to mention that.
They show him.
they were drawn by the same artist. I think he used to do work for the Eagle back in the day, and sort of like those little war comics that I
That's
don't know if
right.
Anthony remembers.
Yep.
Yeah, and for Action Man. The toy line of Action Man
Action
that went
Man.
on throughout the decades, but yeah, it was the same artist that did all the work for that, and those
There was
slides
details. There was like he's one under like
Yeah,
rubble.
that's it, yeah.
It'd be the
Yeah.
picture, and then it'll zoom into
Yeah.
his face,
Yeah.
wouldn't it, afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was
it's like
getting
this-
dissolved or something.
Yeah,
wasn't
green
he?
goose
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
I remember when he's tied up and he's got a cobra right next to his face.
yeah.
That was
So
gonna
cool.
be
It was, yeah.
It was just an image, but it was so. I'll sit down and watch the ending just for the.
But no,
image.
again,
as
it
a
was
young
it was
kid-
like how I would say it was great artwork to a great song as well.
Yeah.
At the end, it just went with it,
yeah,
didn't
it's
it?
brilliant. Yeah.
It sort of brought all the elements for me together that made a good kids film. And like I say, it was quite scary. Not scary. Well, yeah,
No,
scary.
yeah, it was, yeah.
as a
Captain
kid.
Black was scary.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like the voice of the Mysterons as well.
yeah.
I
What was it?
always
Could
wanted to see
They
one,
just
though.
controlled people. Was that what the power was?
I think
Or?
they were from Mars
Yeah.
or Saturn, I can't, Jupiter, somewhere like that. But
And
yeah,
they
they basically wanted to invade Earth.
Yeah. Good pick, so.
Good. I'm glad.
Thanks for spawning it, big girl.
Yeah.
Well,
Offhand. Right. Jeez.
Howard, number 3 live action, sir.
Number 3, right. Again, this was big for me at the time. Hopefully, Ant will remember, but this was Round the Bend.
Is
I remember.
I'll say another
is that the one with the big crocodile?
The big Doc Croc.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And they would do skits, or like cartoon skits, like
That's
Wee
right.
Man and stuff like that.
that's it,
Yes,
they
I remember
do,
that.
like, parodies of Rocky and stuff, called it Ricky. So, for those that don't know, Round the Bend was produced by the same company that did Spitting Image. So all the puppets were done by the Spitting Image people. And you had Doc Croc, who was the editor, with inverted commas, of a live action comic. So he would basically present the show each week from his sewer with his little crew of rats. And then he'd say, next up is this sketch. And then it would be a series of cartoons and sort of animation pieces. But yeah, it was brilliant.
I can't believe you remember it. I thought I was the only one in the world that remember this show. I'm so glad someone else remembers it.
It's awesome. The humour, I think, that they threw into it, again, it was very adult. Because my mum used to sit and watch this with me. Not religiously, but whenever it was on, she'd go, I like this. Because a lot of it was adult humour. And you would have the stuff thrown in for the kids. But then, because it was produced by the same people who did Spit and Image, and all of the comedians that went along with it at the time, it was tinged with a little bit of naughty humour.
Yeah.
And in late years, when you watch it, you're like, actually, bloody hell, how did they get away with
this is it.
that? But one of my favourite things that come from Round the Bend was a claymation thing. And I used claymation, again, very loosely, because it was shocking. But it was called False Teeth from Beyond the Stars. And in the first series, it ran week after week after week. But for me, it was absolutely brilliant. Just this shitty claymation thing of Roger Dentist, the apprentice dentist, who would fight these false teeth from Beyond the Stars because these false teeth were coming to life. Yeah, Colonel Handlebar moustache. And it was just all gags like this, but it was brilliant. I think it's kind of given me my bizarre warped sense of humour that I've got today.
Yeah, that was one that was used to be on the sort of the same time as Nightmare was.
That's it, yeah.
But it didn't last very long, did it?
2 or 3 series, it was a couple of years.
Yeah.
It ran its course and it had its time, and then that was it. But I'd urge anyone to go back and look at it. It was a good one.
I need to go back on YouTube and see if they've got any episodes on there. It'd be great.
It'd be on there,
yeah.
It was just funny.
I remember it. I was just going to say, I'm surprised that there's someone else in the world that remembers it other than me. It's like, oh my God. Good shout, sir.
Doc Croc.
Doc Croc, that was it.
So for my cartoon list, I have got Thundercats.
Yes, that was in mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thundercats are awesome.
Thundercats all the way, sir.
So, and this even extends to the newer version that they did a good few years ago, which was kind of like it wasn't a reboot. They had taken the original premise and run with it again, without completely rebooting it. But yeah, Thundercats again gave us that awesome toy line, comics, God knows what else.
I don't remember seeing Thundercat toys. For some reason.
It's quite before your time, though.
They were quite different because everything we had at the time were about. And I hasten to use the phrase 6 inches, but these Thundercat toys were about 8 inches tall. So they were slightly bigger, slightly more expensive. Very good marketing. But yeah, these were more like action man size.
Right.
So
they'd have a little trigger at the back, so they would move their arms or legs or
they
something.
used to do
or
different
whatnot.
things, and but I mean the character of Lion-O and Panthro and the twins and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it was great. Mum-Ra as a villain was absolutely iconic. Evil Mum-Ra.
What was the Skeletor?
That was another
He-Man.
franchise which
I'm thinking of something else. Sorry.
I'm going to ask you not to talk about.
Sorry.
This guy,
Gee,
man.
he's destroying again.
Stop, G.
No, you had Mum-Ra, you had the
That's
mutants as well.
The mutants, yeah. I remember. I think the character was called. I think he was called Hammerhead, but he had this giant,
fucking massive pirate guy looking
fist.
at.
Yeah, he was the pirate. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, they were like a separate faction of villains.
You had Monkeyan and
yeah,
Raven
that's it.
Raven Man. Oh, I can't remember what was now. It was just
it
so
was,
many great characters.
It was just a good, fun TV show that took a lot of what we already knew at the time and put a different spin on it. Yeah.
It was like the first. I remember the first season. How it had, the opening to it was very much like a Superman origin. How their planet was dying, and they left to go to another world, and they slept through it all. One had to stay to survive.
Lionel, when he left, like, very much like Superman. When he left, he was a kid, and when they got to their planet, he was a grown man. But with the mind of a child.
That's it.
Which was a nice little premise. Yeah,
but yeah, it just that was a show where again I was. Yeah, it topped everything at the time. The toys, like you said, I begged, I pleaded for toys of it. I never got one. Again, back to the same situation where I wanted the what was the Thunderclaw? Was that what the car was called?
No, Battle Tank, wasn't it?
Battle Tank, that's it. Sorry, yeah. And it had like the massive claws in it. I wanted that. I didn't get that. I was very pissed off with that.
Thunder Tank.
Thunder Tank. Let's say, yeah. There was rumors that they were going to have their fortress as a toy, but because these toys were so big, they would never fit into the actual thing. So again, it never happened.
It would have been hundreds of pounds.
Exactly, it was ridiculous. But that fucking show, man, it's just
These toys, they always have like two part to it. Some of them, like they'll have the actual body of it, and then have something they ride. Like you said, the cat. I know Thundercats, but I don't know much of it. But they always used to just get you the one of them, like just the man thing. But you were like, I want that as well. Can you get? No, you're only getting one.
You're only playing half a story.
There's no point without the thing that he rides or whatever.
That's good marketing, then, isn't it?
I know, but I always got just the guy, but not the whatever. Like, I don't know. If I got Batman, I never got Batman's card. You know what I'm saying? It's just like frustrating.
This is it. But I was such a big fan of it. I was a big fan of it. When I was at uni doing like the films and stuff, I even did my own script for it at one point. Because Matrix Reloaded and Revolution was at the time, I actually made it into a two-parter as well. So like at the very end, they defeat the mutants, but then the mutants come across and meet Mum-Ra because they're not from Third Earth either, are they? They were there, and then they come across Mum-Ra, and then Mum-Ra rises up at the end. So it's like the cliffhanger for the next one. Right. It was so good. It was one of those films I've always wanted. Do you want to hear my cast, by the way?
Yeah, go for it.
It's the best ever.
So
don't forget, this was 2001.
I love how excited you are about telling me about
it. You'll be like, okay, yeah.
Right, cool.
Apart from who Lino. So Lino was going to be Mel Gibson.
All right.
Okay,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Panthro was going to be Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
At the time, it's 2000. Josh Hartnett as Tigra.
Yeah, I can see that.
Halle Berry as Chitara.
Of course.
And Wily Kit and Wily Cat was Elijah Wood and Christina Ricci.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not too bad.
No, I like that.
I didn't have anyone for Snarf at the time, so... Snarf was the only one, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he could do, yeah. But, the theme to that song was great, but I always preferred it at the end. Do you remember the end credits? There's like a really 80s guitar solo. The very fucking end of those credits, that kicks ass.
Yeah,
I need that as like a message tone or something.
So who would have been your Mum-Ra?
So Mum-Ra, the big one would have been Michael Clark Duncan again.
Right, okay.
But Samuel Jackson would be the decrepit one.
Samuel Jackson?
Yeah, decrepit one. I don't know why. He'll be in full makeup, so you never see him.
I would have said like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, could do, yeah. Steve Buscemi would have been good. Oh, good shout. Yeah.
Just the wizened crone.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good, actually, yeah.
I expect this film by next year.
I need to dig out the screenplay, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I went all out on that big time. And I remember like trying some of the guys at Blockbusters and whatnot, but yeah. I was such a big fan of it. It was in my number 3 on my list. So yeah.
Did you say number 3
it was number 3 is yours, yeah.
Did you say they remade it recently or...
Yeah, it was a few years ago, but yeah.
2011, I believe they brought it back.
I can't... So I'm working off memory now. I can't really recall whether it wasn't a reboot. I just remember that it put a new spin on the old story.
So they just reamped the animation.
Oh yeah, the animation was very good. Yeah.
Was it a case of the old ones where like the intro was badass, but the actual episode animation wasn't?
No, I think it all stood up.
Oh really?
To credibility. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, carried it through.
Good shout, sir. Nice pick.
Yeah, I'm really jealous that for some reason it wasn't around my time. For some reason,
I think it kind of fell out of favour really when other things come along, especially because it was in the 80s and it was big in the 80s, and then by the time the 90s come around, you had things like Power Rangers and different cartoons. I use Dave's example of Rugrats. It just moved on and it just got pushed behind.
Shame.
It wasn't the
This is it. Again, it could be a franchise if they get a decent studio behind it. It could work. You know, it's just a shame this reboot. Was it 1 season or 2?
Just the one.
Just the one. I can't remember.
Oh no, it could have been 2. No, it was 2.
It was 2, but it had like didn't it have like a sort of anime look to it at all?
Yeah. So it was very,
I think
very
it put the old
Japanese
fans
inspired.
off of it, didn't they, or something?
I think so.
Yeah.
They poo-pooed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. But hey, Thundercats, give me it any time of day. Big gal. Number 2.
Number 2.
Just double checking.
Is it animated? You're such a professional at this. I thought surely you'd have it out in front of you right now.
Sorry.
It's only our 70-something episode.
No, I'm just debating what one to push up and just to swap around.
Oh, last minute change.
I'm going to say number 2, X-Men.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think this one was there's 3 Marvel shows I was watching on together at the same time: X-Men, Spider-Man, and Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
For some reason, I didn't like Iron Man, and Iron Man was out, and there was one more I can't remember.
Fantastic Four.
For some reason, I just neglected those 2 for some reason.
Well, it was a bit cheesy. It was combined as the Marvel Power Hour.
Yeah,
It didn't have the same edge to it.
Yeah, I felt like those 3, Spider-Man, Hulk, and X-Men, like had more story and more. I don't know. It just felt better like watching them, and I felt like Fantastic Four and Iron Man wasn't on par with those levels. But at X-Men, I think. If you, again, go back if you watch the intro to it.
One of the best intros ever, by far.
Whenever you think of X-Men, that's all I see. Just that intro, like all of them come in, and and you forget as well. Like, as they introduce the characters in the intro, their name comes up. I'm like, I was watching it. I was like, I never realized
it was so good. It was such a great way to introduce each character. Because if you didn't know who they were. Yeah. This is an intro in the actual intro to them. So because it always showed their name, but they showed their ability at the same time. They always did something to do it.
Storm
Whatever.
will help start a storm. And then,
Wolverine get the claws out and everything.
Yeah, Cyclops does the eye thing. So and then obviously at the end they face off with all the bad guys, and then it gives you like
the Brotherhood, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you're always like, who's that? That's Magneto. Oh, I haven't seen him yet, and it gives you like sort of hint to what to expect. Again, like I think you mentioned, because I don't remember if it ended.
It did.
Did it fully end?
It had an ending. It could have still carried on, but it did sort of finish off.
Did Cable get involved in that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So one saga I remember, and one really cool thing they did also was a crossover where they crossover with Spider-Man. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
They came into. I think Wolverine came into a Spider-Man episode.
No, something to do with the Sentinels. I'm sure the Sentinels overrun his wherever he is, and they help Wolverine and him. Cyclops will come out and help him out. But anyway, that was cool. And the Phoenix saga, that was awesome. Where she gets to
one of the biggest continuations on telly that was at the time, because it was like 7 or 8 parts or something.
It was big,
It was crazy, wasn't it? But that's another great thing the show did, was bring some of the actual main comic stories to life as the show.
Quite a lot of it as well.
Because, like you said, Cable was in it. You got the Age of Apocalypse was in that. You've got Days of Future Past, I believe, was in the series at some point as well. And
I think a professor doesn't die. He gets put. Some entity takes him away. So essentially, because he gets some sort of illness, I think, and I think there's near the end, and obviously.
But that's how the show ends. The season ends.
I thought there was something else, because
Prince Charles Xavier dies in the last ever episode.
You get Apocalypse in this as well.
Yeah, Apocalypse shows up every now and then. Yeah,
Sinister
does.
Oh yeah, that's quite big.
You got all these great, stories been told in this sort of animated. Like this is like at the time was like. I was watching this before comic books, and I've learnt so much on that show, because normally it's the other way around. I felt like I learnt more from the animated show than the comic book.
So then, but and when you went straight to the books, you could just go straight into it regardless.
Because I finished, I was watching that, and then at that time I remember, I think the Apocalypse series were kicking off at that time, so it kind of fell in rightly for me. But again, like some of the character designs, like Rogue, Storm.
But there's
sorry, I'm not.
But no,
I'm sorry, say that a little bit more pervy, please.
He's going back to his pornography now.
No, like even now, if you watch it now, it's like, damn, man. Like,
they were hot.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Did they awaken something within you?
Oh no, you don't want this story.
The dark
Rogue
phoenix
is
within you.
Rogue is one of my favorites.
Story.
Yeah, I'm sure she is, mate.
But then it's in the movie.
Should have done that.
In the movie, there's a rogue, and this looks nothing like
No.
the rogue I know. And I was just like, poo this, man. This fuck this.
Well, let's face it. I think a majority of the movies didn't look anything like the actual guys, did they?
And
Black suits, for fuck's sake.
Gambit, come on, man. There's some awesome characters in there.
This is
man.
it.
Gambit.
Gambit.
Yeah, there we go.
And
Recently, there was rumours that they were going to continue the cartoon series.
They
They are.
They're remaking.
Disney Plus are doing it. Yeah.
It's meant to be this year or next year.
It's called X-Men 97, so it's actually going to continue from where
From where they left
from
off.
where they left off. Yeah.
And it's done in the same animation as well. It's like not like new. Or
I'm not. I believe it's this year, but I couldn't tell you when it was out.
I think
this
it's
year.
next year.
Yeah, I didn't follow that thread, so I wasn't sure whether they were going to pick it up or not.
No, it is legit.
Yeah.
It's definitely happening.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I can't wait. I can't wait for that. But yeah, X-Men all the way, mate. It's my favorite Marvel books of all time. And when that, because I was actually reading it before the show came out, so when you had episodes like Omega Red was in, it's like, oh, there's Omega Red, there's this and that. But if you ever go back and watch it, there's other episodes where there are other characters in the background. So you say, oh look, there's Deadpool, and there's such and such. There's Morph in the background.
Deadpool?
Yeah, he pops up every now and then. There's so many Easter eggs in that show.
Wow.
Like if you're either a Marvel or X-Men fan, you'll be like, there's X-Force and there's Domino. There's
I think
sort of
there's an Alpha Flight in one of
yeah, exactly.
What,
yeah,
they come in the episodes or they're just in the background?
well, they're either pop in or they get killed off or something. They are there.
Damn.
You just
Okay.
need to spot it. Is the thing.
Wow, okay.
So
There's a reason to go back and watch it then.
absolutely, yeah. But it's such a
Well,
great
for
show.
me, my favorite bit was, I know that everyone's got their favorite. My favorite bit was the Sentinel saga. I thought that.
that was the first storyline.
Yeah, it just stood out. And then
it's great episode to start with. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I remember. Do you remember when that the intro starts? Literally as it starts, and the bottom of the screen it says in brackets in stereo. Do you ever notice that? Right. Yeah. So I remember when this came out, my dad used to watch me watch this, and he'd be like, in stereo? Intriguing. And many months later, my dad buys a stereo surround sound system just to make sure it actually was in stereo. And obviously, we kept it ever since then, obviously. But the fact that he bought one, it was like a cheap thing or whatever, just to make sure it was telling the truth that it was in stereo. And it actually was.
Yeah, but that earns him cool dad credit.
This is it, absolutely. Yeah. Hence why I keep buying stereo sounds and all that, but yeah.
Well, the impact of that TV show was so far reaching. It's like with the recent Doctor Strange 2 film. Where
yes.
Xavier and as he rolls in, you hear the little bit of theme.
Yeah.
Come on, I bet you lost your shit, didn't you?
Oh, mate. It's good to see him back in the actual blue chair as well. Like, because you were expecting that throughout every time X-Men came out, and he was
the yellow chair.
Yeah, sorry, yellow chair. And you're like, oh, damn. And they, put the little music for it as well. That's awesome.
Good choice, sir. Dave, over to number 2, sir. X-Men. You're not a Marvel person, are you?
Or a DC or massively anyway. Which is why it's, But for me, it's moving away from that, Goosebumps.
Yo, good shout.
So I had to put this on because I love Goosebumps. As a young kid.
Did you read the books?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had them all lined up in order. And then I had to get some of them from the library, and then you could slot them in. And then I was like, I have to give it back now. But I think because I've always liked horror, as you well know.
Yeah, of course.
And this was like the entrance, I think, for me. When I was thinking back on it, I was thinking, this is where horror sort of, became like an enjoyment for me. Because each little... I don't know if anyone probably... everyone must know Goosebumps, surely.
Yeah, the famous...
Each sort of episode or book or whatever was a different little self-contained horror story. So that's what I loved about it, because you never knew what was coming.
It's like an anthology of...
anthology,
series, wasn't it? Yeah, every show was... I think, a couple were 2 parts when they were apart from that,
yeah, because you had the dummy, didn't you?
The Haunted Mask was a great episode.
Yeah, and like Bride of the Haunted Dummy and things like that.
I always like the Blob the Etive one.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, and I always like...
That's you and your missus.
Liberties.
Moody. Liberties.
Fuck you guys, man.
Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. That book I remember... I remember I was fascinated with the book covers. They were so
vibrant.
It was
and
vibrant
textured,
and the texture. I always I don't know. I've read 3 or 4, but every time I saw it in the store or something, I always wanted to buy one. Or this weird sort of marketing
It's weird how Goosebumps is still going today, because that was, 90s?
Yeah.
You've had 2 films since then, and does he still do books for it now? But it's still quite popular, to be honest, really, isn't it? Has he stopped it, has he?
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of them, looking back on it, are probably taking inspiration, if you're being kind, ripped off other stories, you know. But what it done is it's a nice way to bring horror, which, you know, wasn't really a kid's thing as such, specifically. I mean, we've talked about things that creeped you out in kids' things, but as a kid, and I don't know if it's just me speaking, but I was always like drawn to like that, you know, I wanted to be creeped out a little bit.
That eerie sort of side to shows. Yeah, absolutely.
Like when I started reading the books first, and then when I found out about the TV series, that was like a really exciting thing to make sure. I think I had to get my dad to like record them on VHS, and I remember we were. I didn't want to speak about it earlier, but you were talking about that you had to be sitting down and watching it.
Yes,
and I remember my parents getting fed up with me because we had like I made them record like the Goosebumps, and then they went on the
and
same.
You had to sit and watch it.
No, they went on the same VHS.
Oh, okay,
so
right.
I'd record one, and then you'd have enough space to put the next one after it next week and things. So eventually, I built up like a little backlog VHS tape, and that thing then would be on, like you were talking about, on Sundays when there wasn't really anything on or whatever. That's when I'd pester them to put it on, and then I'd just watch it, rewind it,
it's all right.
It again.
Yeah,
I love that, and you know that's just me because of the horror, you know, love.
That's a good shout, because I knew of the show. I knew of the books, but my sister was reading them at the time. I was more of a point horror person because it was a bit more for the older teenager sort of horror book franchise. We were sitting for episodes, and she'd be like me, like waiting for my reaction because she read the book, she knew what was going to happen. And when you got the episode like the Haunted Mask where it attaches to the skin and stuff, like, fuck, this is a kid's show. It's like this is crazy. But you had that, and there was another one called Are You Afraid of the Dark? Do you remember that? There was another Nickelodeon one. Yeah. They were like the two together, but I think personally, Goosebumps was a better show for me anyway on that one. And it's a good shout.
And like G said, it was linked into the book, so you had that excitement of seeing what you'd read.
Yeah.
Brought onto like the TV series and things like that.
And going back to what you were saying about horror for kids, it made it accessible and not acceptable, but it was more of a introduction. Yeah, I think kids can get into horror. We can introduce a bit more, and it definitely.
Well, you couldn't do it nowadays, though, could you? Is the thing?
No,
it's just,
you know, my parents didn't want me watching wrestling. That's why I said earlier I had to go around my friend's house. That's the only time we watched Dave. Because they knew full well, knowing me, that I'd probably act it out and end up with a brain injury or something. But so I think, but they didn't stop me watching or reading the Goosebumps book, so that's good. You know, I'm sure if you'd have said, you know, anything else horror related,
I'm not going to say it.
You wanted to say it, are you?
No. Let's carry
Go
on.
Put yourself into straight to hell, God.
No, I'm just saying, like you know, you didn't want to. No, forget it. Let's forget it.
Let's move on anyway. Anything else on Goosebumps, sir?
He's thrown me.
That's fine. Howard, number 2 live action, sir.
Number 2 live action is Knight Rider.
Oh, nice. The Hofmeister.
Yeah. I mean, that man was cool.
Yeah, come on.
He was cool.
He was the best.
He was not cool, but he was cool. Kick-ass car that talked. And
Kit or something?
Kit.
Is that fighting crime, isn't it?
Yeah, please don't ask me to say what Kit stood for. I cannot remember. It doesn't matter.
What was Hoffman's, what was his character called in that?
Michael Knight.
Michael Knight, that was it, yes.
Michael Knight of the Knight Rider.
That's it. And I never realised till years ago that was Mr. Feeney, that it was, from Boy Meets World, that does the voice.
He was the voice,
yeah.
Yeah, he was quite a famous actor at the time, that guy.
I never knew that, no.
But it was great. I mean, who didn't like this guy in a leather jacket, you know, wooing all the women and going around fighting crime in his technologically advanced car? It's brilliant.
Yeah, it was like the car you just wanted back then and you just wanted to drive or whatnot. It was so great back then.
What made me laugh about...
But did you watch it for the car, though? Or did you watch it for the Hofmeister? For Michael Knight?
Yeah, I wanted to be Michael Knight. I think, no, we can all probably say if we watched it, it was because of the car. The car was the draw.
Yeah.
Did the car talk to him in that?
The car talked
did everything.
Yeah, he was sentient.
And now we have cars that talk to us.
He had this sort of like light thing goes across.
That's right. Yeah, a bit like Silence from Battlestar Galactica. But yeah, he would talk back and Michael go, I think we should chase the bad guys, Kit. And he go, I don't know, Michael.
He's Irish now. I don't know, Michael.
Yeah, he was totally Irish. But of all the programs at the time, this sort of epitomised the 80s and the excesses of the 80s and just out and out adventure.
Can't mention 80s without Knight Rider.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just made you believe that this thing was real.
What was the helicopter one though? I will keep forgetting.
Airwolf.
Yeah.
Well, there was Airwolf and Blue Thunder.
What was it, G? Helicopter.
I think Airwolf came out after, but
It's about the same time.
But I think they were airing both. They do Knight Rider and then Airwolf after.
There was Airwolf. There was Street Hawk, which was the motorcycle. There was Blue Thunder,
Street Hawk, I remember.
which was the alternative Airwolf.
They are such 80s names,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Airwolf was cool though, man.
Airwolf was brilliant. Yeah.
So and he had the base in the one of those.
I'd still go for the car, though.
canyons.
I'd still go for
Oh, the car every time, yeah. But I always loved that these programs were limited with what they could do with like an arch nemesis. So with the Knight Rider, you had Garth Knight, who was meant to be Michael Knight's evil twin brother.
Right.
But he wasn't. He was just a guy who'd had plastic surgery. I can never remember the backstory to this. But
Oh, it would have been so cool if it was like, this is Daniel Day. So Michael Knight and Daniel Day.
So, yeah, for whatever reason, this character had plastic surgery. He was calling himself Garth Knight, and he was the evil Michael Knight. And it was just stuff like that. I think there was a big truck. So the evil car version of Garth Knight was this truck, and it was called something like, it's Goliath.
Okay.
It was this unstoppable truck that would just drive through shit and just demolish buildings and cars and kidnap people. And yeah, it was brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, totally unbelievable.
But such great entertainment back
And
then.
I always remember as a kid, there was this one episode where Michael falls in love. And for what the contrived storyline of this woman is introduced, somebody from his past, they reignite their love, they fall in love, they get married, and then right at the end, I think an evil car or some bad guy kills the love of his life. And you used to see Hoffmaster break down in tears, like, no, damn you. But then he gets up, brushes himself, right, anyway, next week.
Like nothing happens at all.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah. So before Baywatch, you had Knight
It
Rider.
was, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Please tell me you watched Baywatch.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Honorable mention.
Pervert.
Honorable mention. That one.
This was
Was it really?
kids TV
film.
program.
Well, we'll go into
Well,
it. We'll come
I mean,
back. We'll come
Don't
back.
get me wrong, we watched it as kids, but it wasn't a kids TV program.
It wasn't, but I watched it. I still
It's on the
watched it.
list,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's on the list.
I remember one episode where they
Yeah, I bet you did. Did it involve a certain blonde lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Was she,
Number 2 animated, sir.
Number 2 animated is Transformers.
Oh, nice.
I'm glad someone's
G's going to
mentioned
get his dick hard right now.
So it would have been
that.
number
More than
one.
meets the eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It would have been number one, but the number one animated on my list, I think, tops it all for purely because it is what it is. No, I'll come
Sure,
to it obviously
sure.
at the time, but yeah, Transformers. More than the films that have come recently, I'm all about the animated TV
Same.
series. I absolutely adore Transformers. The toys, the comics,
Did you ever watch the Beast Wars as well?
Beast Wars, Headmasters.
Yeah.
Headmasters. Absolutely everything that came with it. Generation 2, Generation 3. It was, absolutely brilliant.
It was what when you're a kid, it's what you loved. And I think Transformers was just like, and you got the toys to go with
The
it.
toys
again.
were awesome.
I know I said earlier Power Rangers best, but even Transformers were like.
Oh, God,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Even
Well,
they used to have the little small one they used to transform. I always wanted to collect them as well.
So, the little ones, but I from the little range, I always loved, because Soundwave was my favourite character.
He's badass, man.
Oh,
he's
badass.
great.
Well, he was
Soundwave
so
Shock.
cool.
Is he the one that shoots a little?
And out of all the
cassette
Transformers,
yeah,
he had the most robotic
Yeah,
voice
yeah.
out of all of them.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
he?
He was. I think I sort of gravitated towards him because he was the robot.
Yeah.
He was the tape player, right?
He was the tape.
Yeah.
cassette
I always
player,
get confused with him and Shockwave.
So Shockwave was kind of like the custodian of Cybertron. He was left on Cybertron when everybody else
Yeah.
left. He was a massive sort of rifle, futuristic ray gun. Shockwave was cool.
It was,
But
they
yeah,
both were kind of my favourite, and the jet. Oh, what's his name? I forgot
Starscream.
Starscream. They were my favorite. I never liked Megatron because he turns into a little gun.
Yeah, he kind of defied logic, really.
Yeah,
It never made sense how this massive robot turns into the tiniest gun.
Yeah, but not always. Sometimes he would be like a massive ground cannon.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, for the purposes of the storyline, he would then turn into a small gun that Starscream would hold and shoot.
That didn't make sense. He's like this powerful guy, and then that annoyed me so much. But yeah.
Well, Megatron's sitting on my shelf as we speak. One of the original toys, along with Soundwave. Yeah.
Awesome. I've got a little Megatron toy as well.
But I was always very lucky.
That's like you're trying
He's
to.
like, I got the original 80s. He's like, yeah, I've got a tiny statue.
It is the original.
It's still in the box.
I was always very lucky.
Sorry.
No, he's a true collector. At the time, Megatron and Optimus Prime were the toys you could not get. And I don't know how he did it. My dad was not an influential man. He didn't move in any circles. But he got me Optimus Prime and Megatron, which you could not get for love.
Yeah.
Money.
Did you ever get the toy where he has the truck that joins onto him, then it morphs into like this massive thing, the trailer for him?
So the trailer on the back of Optimus Prime, the original one, that came with the toy, but it would open up, and then there'd be the little button inside.
Wouldn't it have his guns and stuff in that? Wouldn't it have like Optimus's guns in that trailer?
I can't remember. I swear it kind of morphs onto him or something like that.
Not the original toy.
Oh, right. Okay,
no, it would open up and there'd be like this little radar thing go, turn around, and there'd be the little bug.
How'd it go?
So as not to embarrass myself, I won't do that again. That famous sound effect. But yeah, I mean, the toys were, I think that was possibly the first example of marketing for toys, and the fact that cartoon was created for that very reason. So this now ties into what you were saying about Power Rangers. The original Transformers was based on a Japanese comic book and TV series called Takara. And then the Americans grabbed hold of it about a year or so later and went, we can market the shit out of this.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah. So a lot of the animation is original Japanese, but then they really Americanized it. And again, just another example of the fact that the Japanese got there first. With this sort of thing, and it kind of lends itself. Sorry to interrupt you, G. That kind of lends itself to the fact that you said about the Power Rangers were kind of like Transformers, because it's all a Japanese idea,
It all relates to one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a car turning into a robot, and it's obviously you have in Power Rangers those big massive dinosaurs turning into like the big figure.
But that's why I love the movie.
Yeah. You had the Dinobots with Transformers. So I think, you'd probably be hard pressed to find not the link between that and Power Rangers.
Me, Grimlock.
Me no like that idea.
They were so good, the Dinobots. That's what got me into
Sludge and Slag.
Oh, it's amazing.
Who's your favourite Autobot?
I liked Jazz.
Yes, same.
Jazz. So he was a cool Porsche, but also he was voiced by a man called Scatman Carruthers. And I won't embarrass myself by doing the voice, but I think he
had the best car in it as well.
Oh, he was the best car and the best sort of personality for all the robots.
And then Bumblebee's like a little shitty little beetle. Like, no offense, like
but he was cool.
He was cool.
How did Jazz work out in the movies, mate?
2 pieces.
I mean,
I'm still pissed off about it.
Did you ever get into it, Dave? Was you ever into Transformers at all? No?
What?
No?
Oh, no, man.
But I mean, he's not my favourite Transformer, but just the name itself was like Ultra Magnus.
Ultra Magnus.
Like, good God, that sounds like the greatest condom franchise ever.
You got Optimus Prime, and then how can?
And then Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus should be Optimus. Yeah. It sounds like it should be. And do
you remember in the shows as well? They connect the energons. It's always like a cube of like
power.
Yeah, energy. It's like we're always fascinated how they look. Just like what the hell is that? Sorry.
They'd always siphon off oil or whatever the crude substance was at the time, and then they turn it into energon cubes.
Yeah, and it's all
ship them off back to Cybertron. Yeah.
Did you ever watch the new series that Netflix did?
I caught bits of all of the newer things that they've done, but not
wasn't your bang.
I think I was still kind of het up on the old series.
You should watch it. It's pretty good. I watched I think it's 3 seasons. Pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure I'd enjoy them, but I think I was at a period in my life where I hadn't left it all behind, but there was other things to watch and other things to do, and
of course,
it wasn't a priority. But as soon as I hit my 65, mate, I'm watching all of this.
doing the whole shebang, so I binge that shit.
Yeah, it's worth. They kind of like explain a lot of things and tie in things. It's all, man.
Oh,
It's
okay.
pretty good.
Right. I think my lasting memory of original Transformers was the movie, because I went to the cinema to see the movie with my dad, and it rocked, and it rocked to a degree with
The 80s one, 80s movie you're talking about.
the 80s cartoon, and it rocked because it had a rocking soundtrack.
The bear, one of the best ever.
By a band called Lion, and who nobody's ever heard of ever since. But yeah, I sometimes still, when I'm on Spotify, I'll look for it, and it's a guilty little pleasure, and I'll play the theme tune from the film.
Is that the one where they spoilers,
so good?
They kill off Optimus? Is that the film?
So he dies, and then
Is that the film you're talking about?
That's the
Yes,
film,
yeah.
And then I think in the plot line of the story, it's passed to not. He wasn't. Was he called Ultra Magnus? No, the character.
Ultra Magnus is in the movie.
Was he called Ultra Magnus before he got the leadership, or was he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
he was.
He was.
But then obviously Hot Rod became Rodimus Prime.
Rodimus
right.
Prime.
Rodimus Prime, yeah, and it was that whole arc of who was the new leader of the Autobots. But that was good.
I just remember the film ends him dying.
No, he
No,
dies
it's at the beginning.
At the beginning.
There's a big battle, and he takes one in the chest and goes grey and dies. And, I mean,
watch
I
it
always
again.
loved Unicron.
Yeah. Orson Welles is Unicron.
Oh, I mean, Orson bloody Welles.
Yeah.
And the character of Unicron.
What was
I have to watch it again.
Megatron's upgrade called?
Galvatron.
Galvatron. That's it. And then didn't Leonard Nimoy do his voice?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
he did.
crazy.
Yeah, so you had this
Such a great movie.
stellar voice cast on this film.
I need
They
to
really
watch it
went
again.
out for it. Yeah. But, yeah. So
Nice.
Transformers. Yep.
Good shout, sir. Let's go to the final ones.
It's number one.
Take it home, Big G. What you got?
This one is obviously a bit later in my childish behavior. Not childish behavior, sorry, as when I was a kid. I was just going to go background. Obviously, my first sort of...
We've taken you back to your childhood now.
And you're
It's
there.
story time with Big G. So my first sort of anime was Pokemon. Obviously it wasn't the greatest anime, but my number
Pokemon
one,
2.
my number one is Dragon Ball Z.
Ah, okay,
And,
nice.
It kind of like broadened my. When I watched it, it just opened up a new library of. Oh my god, there's more animes. I didn't know there was. You had animation. That's all I knew. It was like Batman and all that, but I didn't know there was Japanese doing anime. So when this came out, obviously this is one that I was watching religiously. After school, I'm there.
Yeah,
I can't remember
sure.
what time, but I'll be having my meal, just like waiting for this.
Was it on?
Toonami?
Ah, right.
That's where-
Okay, yeah, that's
that's
the
where
one where okay.
That's where I watched it when I was a
Yeah.
kid, and it was. I think if they showed the whole sagas from Saiyan, Namek, Cell Saga, Boo Saga, and then it stopped from GT. I never got GT. I went as far as I didn't have cable at the time. Well, I did, but it didn't have. There was certain channels that would do it, and they would do it in like in a European dub. And there was a guy at school, I remember, he used to record it, and he used to give me £1 and I'll let you borrow the tape. And he would literally I can't remember how far I got, and then years later they started showing GT on Toonami, and then I've eventually finished it as
Stop
well.
paying him £1.
But it was weird. It was like the worst crappiest VHS recording. It's not the best. And I'm just
But you
watching.
still got to watch it, though,
Yeah, I'm
right?
watching it, but I don't understand. It's
Right,
it's a
right.
different language. I'm just trying to make things out. And there's, oh my god, there's this character, and it was a huge craze in my school when it came out. It was just that people were making before the series, next season happened or next saga. Then people were just making, oh yeah, this guy turns this Saiyan Super times 4, and you're like, what the hell? He's not even a Saiyan. What's going on? And people just making up their own sort of theories and stuff. And this is my show that kind of really it just stuck with me, and
He's still a fan today, right?
yeah, 100%. And it got me into anime and what I watch nowadays. It's like the start, and then after this, it was not into. I can't remember. There was one or two before, maybe Naruto, then One Piece, and then Death Note and stuff like that.
Sure.
It wasn't straight away, because at the time you don't have internet, so there was
of course.
no way to find where to watch it. Yeah, I used to even go to I used to sketch a lot. I used to draw all the characters really well, and I remember going to internet cafes, printing out images, just specifically looking for Dragon Ball Z characters and start drawing them. And I was I was pretty good at I couldn't draw from my imagination. I'll be able to copy and draw it.
Yeah.
color it in and stuff. But yeah, this Dragon Ball Z intro again, not as good as Pokemon, but it still had a really catchy. I don't know if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z.
What I know about Dragon Ball Z, you can write on the back of a stamp, unfortunately. I know, I hate to say that, but crush your hopes and dreams. But no, I've always found it quite interesting as a premise, and everything I do know about it is from running the shop. There used to be this young lad that used to come in, and he used to beg me to get Dragon Ball Z statues and models.
Oh, yeah.
God, I could never get it. It was always expensive to buy and expensive for him to buy as well. But the main character is called Goku,
yeah.
and he's as powerful as Superman, isn't he?
Yeah, there's this running sort of meme nowadays, like he is the strongest. Yeah,
he's stronger.
He's stronger. They're doing a crossover all these famous anime characters like Luffy and Naruto and stuff. But they always compare him to Superman, who will win. Obviously, anime fans will say Goku.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, what I love the imagery of the whole thing. If it was acceptable for me to go about with his hairstyle, I think I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
I've come close several times, but obviously we work in a respectable environment, so now I have to have my hair a certain way. But yeah, the look of that guy.
It is kind of iconic
awesome.
Now as well.
Manga hair is brilliant.
Yeah. It wasn't also like they kind of had to dumb it down. It was quite violent and brutal in the beginning.
Right.
I remember, and then I don't know. There's a version like a R-rated version. I don't know, but in the beginning there was like quite. I remember watching. There was like arms, limbs missing and stuff, and then they cut that down a bit.
Because doesn't the journey of Goku, doesn't he sort of power up to where he is now? He goes through phases.
Yeah, so he's always got this element of like transformation. So there's a point where he'll meet this is the thing. This is what people say is rubbish. Is he's always he'll meet an unstoppable enemy, and then he'll kind of go through emotions, and he'll power up, and like something will happen. A mate of his friend dies, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do it," and he just morphs, and he takes like 2 episodes to transform.
Just wait a minute. Just wait
literally, it is like that. And there was one episode where it looked like 3 episodes for him to do the spirit bomb. Like again, like at the time, I was like, "This is amazing! He's gonna do it!" Like, oh god! And then he probably missed the whole bomb or something. But the recent series is it kicks ass. It's awesome. But this is where it started, Dragon Ball Z, and my love for anime. I don't know if I didn't watch it, I don't think I'll be as good.
So as a series, I'm not familiar with it. So there's Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Then after that is Super Dragon Ball.
So before all this, there's Dragon Ball on its own.
Right.
So that's just Goku when he was a kid. So he's not from planet Earth. He's from Saiyan, planet Saiyan, where he's
Planet Satan.
Saiyan.
Oh, Satan.
Saiyan also. And they are like these super warriors. They go out and conquer planets. They literally just send them one person and send them to a planet, and that person will wreck the whole planet, because when they see a full moon, they will morph into this big massive ape, and they'll just destroy the whole planet. But obviously when he went, he fell on his head, and he lost all his memories, and he becomes like he was raised like a human. So but he has the power of Saiyans, and then obviously, that's where the Dragon Ball story starts. It's about him as a kid taking on the Red Ribbon Army and stuff.
So when he gets all ripped and loses his shit every time he has a battle, that's when he goes Super Saiyan, isn't it?
So when he gets a gold hair, that's when he goes Super Saiyan.
So I know bits of this.
Yeah, same. It's like I'm just trying to connect it all, because I've only seen like
so that's Dragon Ball.
One from this series, one from that series, sort of thing. Yeah.
So that's Dragon Ball. And Dragon Ball Z is where he's an adult. He has a son, and that's when he goes to Namek, and Frieza gets involved. And that's all. Then up, and then it goes into saga. So you got Dragon Ball Z, and then you got Dragon Ball Namek, and there's like 4 or 5 sagas in it. And then it goes to GT, which kind of people.
You lost me now.
Yeah.
Well, it is awesome to watch.
So is it worth like getting a random Dragon Ball box set? Could it start and end, or does it have to? If you buy one box set, you've got to buy the other 50 box sets. Yes, in other words,
because it's still ongoing though. This is the thing. So like they've finished. If you technically watch Dragon Ball Z, it finishes.
Right.
But what they've done now is like they kind of continue it now. It's called Dragon Ball Z Super. So it's continuing from that. But if you watch the actual Dragon Ball, which is
it does have an end.
Yeah, it doesn't have an end, but it just continues.
I'm going to employ the rule of 3 here. Does it go beyond 3 seasons?
Yeah.
You got to watch it.
I have to watch it now.
And can I also just point out that what you're experiencing now is the Dave experience, whenever you guys try and talk to me about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, you can join in, like actually start watching shit.
Yeah,
I mean, you was off for 6 months and you didn't bother to watch one.
But it's
sitting on your ass. Yeah, we know.
I couldn't sit on my ass. Actually, it was broken.
He'd just sit up with his arm up here like this.
Libby's. But this is what I mean. So like. You just sat in there trying to explain it. As like you said, does it end? This
No, because I'm very much like Howard. I know bits and bobs. I'm just trying to glue it together because I am interested in watching it, but I don't want to like go through 16 seasons if nothing progresses from it.
You can play it. Technically, you played Kakarot, the game.
Right,
That's his name. That's his Saiyan name. Kakarot.
so let's go back to your school days.
Yeah.
So I've heard rumours that back in the day, people used to have a Chinese man come into a pub and sell DVDs. You had a geezer, an Asian guy in your playground selling videotapes.
No.
Piracy videotapes.
Oh yeah! Oh, he was actually Somalian. Actually, his name was Mustafa. Honest truth. And I don't know. He for some reason he just recorded it for people. When I'm sure he
Funding
did
terrorism as
moody man. But yeah, I think I must have rented five times from him, and then I was like, "This is
rented,
yeah, legit." Yeah.
Fun fact: this guy went on to found Blockbusters.
honestly, mate.
Oh, fucking that means we worked for him, Dave.
You talk about the myth and the legend of the Chinese guy with the DVDs. Well, I used to back in my pub days. I used to run a pub in Essex, and there was a guy that used to come around every Friday evening. He'd literally have his bag and he'd go, "You want to buy a DVD?"
See,
yeah, and it's a real thing. And they obviously they wouldn't be in cases. They'll be in a little sort of cellophane pocket.
Yeah.
With the printed sleeve. Right? And I used to go, "How dare you walk in there? How dare you hawk your DVDs? Get out!" And I'd meet him around the back and I go, "Right, what you got?" So I'd deprive all of my customers of watching these things. And I'd be like, "Yeah, I've just."
So you had to make it look legit that you wasn't interested.
Yeah,
and
totally.
you ended up buying a few of him.
Yeah, it was a bit of a deal.
Oh, mate.
Cops
I can't believe a
knocking
kid
on my
did that
doors
in
this
your
week.
playground. That's crazy.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I bet he was the man though, wasn't he?
Well, the thing is, if it was in English or something we can understand, he would have been a lot popular. But this is what I'm saying. That's how crazy I was about it. Like, even though I didn't understand it, I was still like trying to figure out. Oh, okay, so that looks like this. Okay, what's going on there? Okay, he beats him. What's he saying? You know, I was just trying to figure shit out. That's how interested in how much crazy I was about the show.
But I love how you never learnt your lesson on the first VHS. You kept doing it and like...
No, because, like I said, because...
Oh, the next one's got to be in English.
Because it went for a long period of time that it finished down on the Boo saga, and you're like, what the hell happens after this? You're hearing, like, there's images, like, literally, you go and take the images of, like, obviously it's out in Japan for way longer, and you're like, you see all these things, images of these scenes from GT, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? What I need to know. Obviously, he says, "Oh yeah, I think this is GT saga. Check it out." And I was like, "Okay," but I didn't understand. But eventually, it came out, and it was still cool. I finished the whole.
So not only did you watch it, you watched it again, but in English.
Yeah.
Wow,
I was proud of it.
That's dedication, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else on that?
No, that's it.
There we go. Yeah. David, number one, sir.
My number one is The Simpsons.
Nice. Yes.
Because how can you not talk about The Simpsons?
Of course.
Simpsons is like part of the intrinsic nature of our culture. Everything has been done by The Simpsons. Hasn't it?
Yep.
And predictions.
And predictions. Didn't they predict Trump?
Yeah.
As president,
COVID.
And everyone is going to have watched The Simpsons. Everyone's going to know of The Simpsons. Probably
one of my favourites of all time, that is. Yeah.
And I just... endlessly, I can remember so many episodes.
Yeah,
they're still being shown today.
You and me constantly quote old episodes, dude. We're always
Isn't it like 33 seasons?
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, just didn't say. Yeah, 33 was 2 weeks ago. It started, wasn't it? Yeah, crazy.
And we can talk about the varying quality later on down the line, but the early Simpsons was so
100%, mate.
And we used to watch that religiously. Again, didn't want to spoil it, but it was always on. It was always on after school, wasn't it?
Well,
but later on,
if anyone had Sky, it would be on Sunday night on Sky One. So it'd be on from 6 till 7. You'll get one episode. Well, it's 6 till half 6, the normal one, but it's half 6 till 7 was the new episode. So that's why you always stay tuned to watch that episode. You get the one from like last week, and then you get the new episode.
But
that's why you watched it. And you'd be like, what are they going to do on the couch this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the opening couch skit going to go?
That's
Yeah. But it was funny. They're so memorable, the characters. They did the Tree Houses of Horror, which had some of my favourite
which they still do
episodes.
as
They were
well.
some of the best episodes.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
of my favourite ones, little anthologies again, and you know, like Kang and Kodos, the little aliens. Just all of the you line up all the different characters they had, and you could probably, I reckon, most of you listening and sitting here, you could name most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
yeah.
it'd be the odd one that you couldn't.
Don't look at me. I voted for Kodos.
Yeah, but I just love The Simpsons, and I mean, it's The Simpsons. What more can I say?
It's The Simpsons.
so many
I
things,
could go
isn't
all day with The Simpsons. I could crack out a few favorite episodes, favorite moments, whatnot. When you mentioned Knight Rider, I was actually going to quote Simpsons. They go, "Look, Night Boat." They go, "Look, Michael, over there. There seems to be a river. There's always a river." Oh, look. Then they go, but then they break the telly on that episode, so they can't watch Night Boat. And then they go.
that's right,
Then they go to a shop and they go, "Oh, look at that TV, Night Boat." The Night Boat's playing on it.
I think Simpsons probably parodied everything.
Yeah,
But
absolutely everything.
Dave's right when he said there's nothing. There's probably no more intrinsically grained kids program,
Yeah,
or probably any other program than The Simpsons in what we know for our popular culture today.
I used
It's iconic now, isn't
I
it?
used to love watching the old episodes, and back to what Dave was saying, and they were doing skits of things, and I love it when they used to rip the piss out of or do a parody from a movie. Like they would take a scene from Terminator 2 and
or
like
any of the McBain.
or McBain's. Yeah, McBain was he is essentially Arnie, isn't he? Yeah. And just be like, oh, that's from The Shining. That's from Terminator 2. I used to love those moments where it's like, oh, I love it when they.
And Homer freezes after chasing him for
That's it, yeah.
Or Bart calling up Mo.
One
and
of the
stuff.
one of the best ones is when he becomes friends with Ned Flanders, and Ned Flanders is trying to run away, but he's chasing him like the T-1000, and he hooks onto the car like it's so good. It's brilliant.
This is what I'm trying to get across, because everyone will have their favourite episodes. Everyone has those little things that they quote. You know, like me and my wife. We always just will randomly in the middle of something throw out the Simpsons quote, "Stupid, sexy Flanders." If you remember,
Yeah.
where he's like, you know, he's like,
Nothing but Ned.
feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
That's it, nothing at all. Nothing at all. That's
Stupid,
it.
sexy Flanders, and he's remembering it. So you know, this is what I'm trying to get up on. The Simpsons, it's done everything. It's parodied everything.
It's engraved in our souls. That
Yeah,
bloody
yeah.
show.
I'll
And
take it to the grave.
it's been going now for many, many years, 33 seasons. I've grown up with it. Cannot remember a time without it. And yeah, it's just one of the all-time. It had to go on.
Is there a place where you can watch all of it?
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus
Disney
has
Plus
got
have
it, yeah.
all 33 seasons of it on there.
All of
Damn.
it. Yeah.
I might have to do that.
Absolutely brilliant.
So buckle up, sir. That's going to be a long watch.
Favorite character that's not The Simpsons?
Probably. I always liked Hans Moleman.
Nice. Good shout.
Dr. Nick.
Ah, hi everybody.
Dr. Nick.
The police guy, I can't remember. his
Chief
name.
Wiggum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Chief Wiggum and Mo Sizlak are my favourite.
Yeah.
Just like the best characters ever. So brilliant.
My wife sent me a Valentine's Day card the other day, which is
I choo-choo.
Yeah, there
Yes!
you go.
I choose you. Yeah.
So that is 30 years old and it's still a thing. And
This is what I'm saying.
People
Crazy,
know
mate.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Still you can suddenly say these quotes to people and they, remember it. Simpsons.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, mate.
Good shout.
Good shout, sir.
Full
Very
stop.
Good shout. Number one live action, sir. Let's hear it.
The A-Team.
Oh! Fuck, I don't think that, Nice. Explain to the people who are unbeknown to what
for those
the
who
A-Team
are
is.
unfamiliar with the A-Team,
Mr. T.
Mr. T was the man.
Get on the plane.
Crack group of mercenaries. I forget.
Don't read off the intro.
So the A-Team are 4 guys plus a girl who basically go about and hire themselves out as a mercenary group, but a good band of mercenaries to help out those in need for the right price, of course. They don't do it for free.
Of course.
And week after week, they'd all jump into Mr. T's big black Now, what was the van? I can't remember what the make of the van was now.
No, I can't either. It was black and red, wasn't it?
Black and red, and it was, it was his pride and joy. But they'd leap in his van, and then they'd go and fix some small town or some guy who was harassing a family or somebody who had taken over a company. And it was always small fry stuff, but it was just great fun. And he predated the whole MacGyver concept of, now we're trapped in this barn and we can't get out. What do we do? Well, we just turn that lawnmower into a tank, and then there'd be the 5-minute montage of Mr. T.
The montage.
Carefully welding things together.
You don't see a montage anymore, do
no,
you?
you don't.
You
don't
see a montage.
Face smoking his cigar because that's what he did, and Hannibal was just sticking his and it was all great, and it was just good fun. You never saw blood. There was shooting.
There was like shoot-ups and everything though.
But they'd always miss, and if anybody crashed a car, they'd always walk away from it. And it was a very kid-friendly form of entertainment, and it kind of got me into that sort of genre for things that came afterwards. But
I believe there was a toy range for that as well.
And did a toy range, yeah. And I didn't have the van, but Trans Am. That's it. It's a Trans Am. I had all 4 of the characters: Face, Hannibal, Murdoch. My favourite was Murdoch because he was bonkers.
I only had Mr. C. Baracus. Was it Baracus?
B.A. Baracus. Bad attitude Baracus.
That's it.
Because he had a bad attitude. Yeah, brilliant. And again, it epitomised shows of that ilk, I think, above everything else at that time. Where the good guys would always win, the bad guys would always... They'd go off into the distance with a flea in their ear because they've been told off by the A-team. Yeah, it was great. And there'll be the pun at the end, and one of them will be smiling. Is it freeze-framed?
Freeze-framed, yes! Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I know of A-Team, but I think at my time they didn't air it. Well, I don't remember being...
I don't think it would hold up now, but it was such a great show for the time.
It was.
You must know of the A-Team.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I know of it, but I wasn't showing it.
I mean, it was brilliant. And I'm very much into sci-fi and animation and all that sort of thing. But in the playground, that's what you played. You played the A-Team every single time.
The A-Team.
Doing shoot-ups in the playground.
Yeah, you fall down and you get up and play the next guy.
Like in space when they do the...
That is one of my favourite. Oh, shit.
Nice. Animated, number 1.
He-Man and the Masters of the So I said earlier, it would have been Transformers, but I think...
My number 4, that was.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It had to be.
Yeah.
And again, I include the recent, and again, it's not a remake, it's a continuation, the recent Kevin Smith produced
I want to know what
He-Man
you think
cartoon.
of it. I've started it.
I love it.
Does it get better?
Ouch.
Now, there's an interesting thing about the new TV series. So, how can I say it without spoiling it?
Because without spoilers, there's something
for reasons...
I can say 2 words, girl power.
Girl power, yeah. Which, look, don't get me wrong, I think there is now a time and a place for young women to have a strong female lead. But when you're shoehorning it into a well-worn cartoon, there was a bit of a backlash. Now, I really enjoyed it. I thought the plot was great, the storylines were great, it was well done, and the ending, it paid off at the end. I find it annoying when they shoehorn that in and it's very in your face.
Yeah.
There is a place for it, absolutely, and I like seeing it, and I think it's a great concept. But yeah, it annoyed a few people. It all came good in the end, and there was some great stuff. But I think I'll come back to the original cartoon, but the opening of the brand new cartoon, I'm assuming you've watched it.
Yeah.
Where it says, it was a time of power, and it made it absolutely 1,000% epic. And I lost my shit.
Did it make you like relive some old
I was
stuff
sitting on the sofa.
Well, the intro you're talking about.
Yeah. I was that 5-year-old kid again. So taking it back. So yeah, that was the new one. But taking it back to the old one, it was just brilliant. It introduced new concepts. It took the idea of like the Conan Barbarian, and he made him this beach blonde bimbo. But you really gunned for He-Man week after week after week.
Yeah.
Skeletor, I think, was one of the most amazing villains ever created.
But just Prince Adam's transformation, that was the thing you waited for every week.
Yeah, of course it was.
It was just, by the power of Grayskull.
Yeah, you waited for that second and you knew that shit would hit the fan.
The epileptic fit of all the flashing lightning and everything and whatnot. Yeah. So like, He-Man's turning.
And after you picked yourself up off the floor, you enjoyed the rest of this.
That's it, yeah. And Battle Cat as well.
Battle Cat, yeah. I mean, and the list of villains, oh God,
Beastman,
Triclops, Beastman, yeah, Spikor. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
And then again,
I
the
think,
toys for that was...
Well, that was the one toy line. Above everything else I think I literally had every toy.
Yeah.
Literally every toy.
But then going back to what we were saying about the Thundercats ones, they were within size, so you could have Castle Grayskull, you could have Snake Mountain.
Oh, it was
and
all affordable, yeah.
Yeah.
At an affordable price, you could enjoy He-Man in the comfort of your own home.
That's it, mate.
But they sort of took a format of toy and they made it their own, and it was a brand new version of something that you knew, but it was different. These muscly men with the bendy legs, and it was hilarious to look back on it now. But yeah, that was the nuts was He-Man.
Boy, did that 80s advertising work.
It did. Well, so He-Man is the peak example of producing a cartoon purely to sell toys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it worked.
Do they do that these days?
I don't know, to be honest, mate.
They don't really do that these days, do they?
Possibly. I don't think it's the main aim of producing cartoons now.
No.
I don't know. But yeah, they got it on the money with that one.
Absolutely. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they try and bring it back, but it was completely like a new generation of He-Man?
Yeah, they brought it back.
It was very more sci-fi orientated, wasn't it? And
mid-90s, and he was on a different planet, and don't ask me the name of the planet. He'd gone to this planet, and he wasn't the He-Man that we knew. He had some sort of space-age costume.
He wasn't the big muscly guy. He was just like...
No, he'd slimmed down a bit.
Yeah.
He'd obviously stopped taking the steroids, and yeah, they placed him on whatever this planet was.
It's not steroids, it's the power of Grayskull.
Of course it is, yes. To fight this new power. And if you would even tell me what the plot of it was.
Yeah, I remember, like I said, I think I remember the opening to it, but I never really, because I was just like, it's not like the original, there's no point in me watching it, I never really got into it.
If you were to say, did he even have his sword? I don't think so. I don't think, Battle Cat or anything like that.
Didn't the advert spark something off as well?
Money Supermarket, wasn't it?
Yeah, but do you remember that advert? That was pretty spot on, to be honest.
That was good, yeah.
But they're not making a live action or anything like that, are they?
They are, apparently.
I think they are, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They've been trying to do it for a while, haven't they? Who's I can recollect.
I mean, I love the Dolph Lundgren film of the 70s. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Good man. High five that shit. Yeah.
It was a good film.
It is. Don't you dare say it's not. It is a good movie.
I haven't seen it, sorry.
It doesn't quite stand up to the test of time.
Yeah,
but I did watch it within the last couple of years and enjoyed it. I thought it was brilliant.
I lost my shit when I was that kid in that cinema watching that.
Yeah. I went to the cinema to see that, and it was absolutely outstanding. With Frank Langella as Skeletor, I think he was absolutely brilliant.
One of the best villains in movie, in my opinion. He sells that role so well.
Oh, he believed in it. 100%,
yeah, absolutely. 110%.
Yeah. And right at the end of that film, what did we have after the credits?
I'll be back.
We had, I think, probably one of the first examples of a post-credit end scene.
That's right, and he never did he?
No, he didn't.
Never did come back.
Should have done.
But some of the lines he used to say that film is like, "I am the Alpha and the Omega," and it's like he sold it well. It's like you believed that he was like fucking badass.
He was like a classical actor. He only starred in big sort of action, war and history pieces, and he was on a stage. But yeah, then because I had no idea this guy was at the time. I had no idea.
No, this is it.
But my dad said, "Oh, it's got Frank Langella in it," and yeah, he was Skeletor. He was brilliant.
I mean, yeah, because I remember obviously he'd done more movies after that, and I think he played like an old man in the film, and like my mum was like, "That's Skeletor." There's like, really him? But no, I mean,
I want to check it out as well.
Yeah, dude, it's one of my favorite guilty pleasures of all time. Really? I've got it on Blu-ray if you ever want to watch it. It is so good. Well, let's do a commentary corner. Let's get Howard on the show and do a commentary corner.
I'll be up for that.
Let's fucking do it.
Because I'll get back to the cartoon in a second. But the thing about the film was that Dolph Lundgren at the time didn't really speak a lot of English, and he literally was reading his lines as he went. The lines had to be on the back of a rock or on the back of a wall or something like that, and he would just read it without really knowing or understanding what the English was.
Wow!
And this was even after he was in Rocky 4.
Not long after he did Rocky 4.
After Rocky as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he rose to prominence in Rocky, and then they chose him to do He-Man. But yeah, the cartoon. So what I loved about the cartoon is that you'd have great characters, great what I consider to be great animation at the time. Snappy one-liners, a great villain, and then right at the end you'd have the moral of the tale.
Yeah.
So to He-Man or whatever character would turn to the camera at the time, and it was done with absolute sincerity And watching a few recently, they were actual sort of parables, and it'd say basically, don't do drugs, kids, because you don't want to put this on your parents. You're going to end up.
You don't want to look like me.
Yeah. But yeah, some of them were quite tear-jerking, because you're going to end up alone. And then he'd get off on his jet sled and just sled off. Until next week, kids. He-Man signing.
Yeah, didn't G.I. Joe do the same sort of thing?
Yeah, they rode off the back of that. And
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, another one that nearly made my list, but I thought I won't include it because nobody's got a clue about G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that's the issue about it now. It's like G.I. Joe's older than He-Man, right?
I think so. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, predates.
But
So
I was more of the
83.
toys than the actual show for G.I. Joe. So,
think we all were, yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, I couldn't get
But
past
no,
it.
I loved it. And I think above, so Doctor Who aside, I think He-Man is the one where, because it was shown twice a week and you'd get home from school and that would be it. I didn't care what else I did.
That's it.
The world could have ended
Yeah.
and you still be watching.
Yeah, I'll be that kid in the burning building.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Nice. That's it. Got to the end.
Yeah.
We didn't. Was there a clash?
Sports.
Oh, just no. There was a few spoils, but no clashes. I think.
Yes, Dave. Taking it personal. on that.
Would anyone like to do honourable mentions?
Yes.
What we got? Let's have
I've
it.
got Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Bikers from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars. Yeah.
It rode off the back of Turtles, that one.
Yeah, I quite like that. Spider-Man, SWAT Cats, Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark. Yes. I thought when you said Superman, I thought that was going to come on your list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even in my honourable mentions.
Oh. Dagger in my heart. Sorry.
But then I did, sorry to interrupt you, but I did kind of steer clear of DC and Marvel.
Sure. No, that's fair. Yeah.
'cause I think there are
That's
other
another
podcasts.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and Keenan and Kel I had.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Who loves orange soda?
Kill.
G loves orange soda.
He do.
But is it true?
It's true.
There was a rumour going around that one of them had died, wasn't there, a couple of years back?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it was a rumour.
I'm the fat one still alive.
Yeah, they're both still alive, but there was a rumour going around that one of them had
Well,
died.
Coolio, who did the theme at the beginning, died, didn't he?
he's
Yeah.
dead,
So yeah.
Maybe it's come from there.
Yeah. It's coming for him now. Dave, honourable mention, sir.
I had Demon Headmaster,
Oh, my God.
Oh yes.
Bernard's Watch.
I'm not familiar with that.
That was a time, he had a special watch that you could stop time with.
I don't remember that one.
Get up to hijinks. I've said Funhouse before. Do you remember Zap?
Yes, that was a comic book.
Yeah.
thing where all the panels had people in and
That's right.
different
Yeah,
things
remember
like
that,
that. How to?
How to? Wasn't that like a science
Yeah.
program? It show you how to
Yeah.
how they do
That's
it.
how.
Yeah, Fred
How?
Dinage. I think Michaela Strachan.
What's
Okay.
Heart Attack? What's that?
That's one,
Neil
yeah.
Buchanan.
Neil
Yeah,
Buchanan.
Buchanan.
Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Oh, okay.
We used to take the piss out of their blockbusters. Like, this is an heart attack. This is an heart attack. And this is a heart attack. Ah!
That show
Hey,
was
sorry,
pretty
Dave,
good.
go ahead.
Yeah, and Blue Peter, things like that.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of that.
Right. So, you know, we used to take the piss out of John with the
Yeah.
found out it's a Blue Peter theme.
Is it really?
Apparently so, yeah. I thought it was just a random pirate thing, but apparently it's Blue Peter's theme.
Well, no, the Blue Peter is obviously a naval. The flag of the Blue Peter.
It's a boat. Is
Yeah,
it a
yeah.
boat? Badge of the boat or something? I can't remember now.
I believe it goes to maritime, but yeah, the Blue Peter was something that was displayed on ships that belonged to whoever was on the throne at the time. So yeah, that's where the theme tune comes from.
He needs to have his own. Did you know?
Did you know?
He's out. Did you know?
They go, Howards, did you know?
God, don't test me on everything.
Well, if we get him on 3 or more seasons, then he can, then we can definitely have that.
He could have his own sound button.
That's it. You, sir? Is that it? You done? Howard, over to you.
I'll go from the bottom to the top because there's the one at the top I want to talk about.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Games Master.
Yeah, that was my number one.
Oh,
that was my number one.
Oh, yeah, Games Master.
Nice.
Do you remember Stop It and Tidy Up?
Yeah.
Voiced by Terry Wogan.
If I look at it, I'll probably know. It sounds very
Yeah,
familiar.
the world of Stop It and Tidy Up. Family Ness, which was about the Loch Ness Monsters.
Some monster, yes, yeah.
Around the World with Willie Fogg.
Yep.
Brave Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the sheriff on a futuristic planet. And
And he had the speed of a...
yeah, Power of the Bear, Strength of the Bear.
That's it, yeah. I know
Eyes
the one I'm
Eyes
thinking of,
the Hawk.
yes.
Yeah, Monkey.
Monkey.
Yeah.
I won't do the voice.
What's the planet gone? You know the guy
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet, yeah. The TV series of The Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah.
Again, these are ones that I sat down and I watched. But you could fill
I
this list
forgot
with
about that
anything you
one.
want.
Yeah, the live action one.
Mask, which spawned another range of
Those toys were the oh my god, they were the best ever.
Brilliant, yeah. I mean, my favourite was Rhino, the truck. Ulysses 31. I got you now there.
Oh, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah, it belongs in. There's another one on my list. Mysterious Cities of Gold.
Yes.
It belongs along with those. And Jason the Wheel Warriors.
Yeah.
It was one of those programs. Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, of course. Happy, Joy.
Yeah. Flipper.
The dolphin.
Oh, the dolphin.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can laugh at it now, but it was a big thing, and you had either like Lassie or Skippy or Gentle Ben, which was
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, my guy was Flippy. He was nuts. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Of course. That's all you.
Yeah.
Yeah. DuckTales.
Yes.
Pingu.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Yeah, Pingu. Was sick.
The Thing parody to Pingu is the best.
Really?
Have you never seen it?
No.
It's so good. He's literally standing with a flamethrower.
Mysterious Cities of Gold. Dogtanian and the Three Musketeers.
Yes, Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, brilliant. Littlest Hobo, which was kind of like a newer version of Lassie.
Yeah. Oh,
So
fucking
the Littlest
hell.
Hobo, he was a dog and he wandered into town and he'd befriend some tramp or a young kid and solve a mystery and then he'd have Wurzel Gummidge.
Yes.
Danger Mouse.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wurzel Gummidge was
John Pertwee.
John Pertwee. That's
John
it.
Pertwee,
Yes.
Luna Stubbs, yeah, Luna Stubbs was Miss Sally. But it was his program, it was his idea.
That's it. It's the Scarecrow, wasn't it?
He was the scarecrow that came to life.
That's right.
It was brilliant, I loved it.
Yeah, I remember.
Grange Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it belongs to the Blue Peter era.
Biker Grove.
Biker Grove.
Biker
yeah.
Grove.
Rent a Ghost. I don't know if you remember Rent
No,
a
I
Ghost.
don't recall that one.
Rent a
No.
Ghost. Okay, well, we'll talk about that another time. Airwolf, which we talked about earlier. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Dukes of Hazzard. And Dungeons and Dragons.
That was a show.
Now, the only reason I want to talk about this one is because G was talking earlier about sort of dark theories about cartoons. Well, the dark theory about that cartoon was that when they go on the Dungeons and Dragons ride, is that they actually die on that ride, and then everything that happens afterwards is they're basically sent into limbo.
I heard about this. Is this?
And I think somebody actually wrote a whole story around this. And if you look on YouTube, there's possibly something on there. But it was quite a credible theory and one that you could actually follow. I think it makes sense. But
My wife told me the same when we had when our kids were little. You sitting in the night garden.
oh yeah,
There's a really dark theory about that. It's like the child is slowly dying,
Right.
And then the little boat going over the sea at night time is symbolic
God.
of death. And then all of that afterwards is like a weird.
That's unlucky. My kid didn't watch that. Then.
I didn't tell that to my kids. I'm not that bad of a parent.
No, but the opening to Dungeons and Dragons, the thing comes apart and they.
yeah, literally. So
I didn't even know there was a Dungeons and Dragons.
Dude, it's such a great show.
The Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, because D&D was sort of made and formed at the end of the 70s as a game, and then it kind of really hit its
Peak in the 80s,
Yeah,
wasn't
it
it?
hit stride in the early 80s, and the cartoon rode off the back of that. But I knew the cartoon long before the game. That's what got me into the
I was
game.
going to say, I just remember the really bad movie.
Don't you dare! That movie's amazing.
God,
That was the one reason why I went to go there to see a trailer for Lord of the Rings.
and brilliant. At the same
Come on,
time.
it was,
yeah.
I'm Dumbledore. And his blue lipstick.
But yeah, sorry, I'm kind of giving this airtime of its own. But dark theories. So, and also with the Simpsons, dark theories. That episode where Homer is in a coma in the hospital.
Yeah.
After Bart shakes the paint.
Yeah.
Oh no, is it the bottle of beer?
And it, yeah.
It was the
No,
bottle
it's
of
a
beer.
can. It's a can. And you get
Yeah.
April. Yeah.
And then they suggest that everything that happens after that is a fever dream of Homer's. That nothing.
Oh wow,
nothing
Jesus!
was real,
I never knew that one.
Yeah.
Can hell. But
Anyway,
you going back to that Dungeon Dragons. So I was going to buy
haven't seen that.
working in Blockbusters. They finally brought it on a box set, the whole shebang. I think it's like 158 episodes or so.
Yep.
I don't know if you know one of the guys, John Stickley, but he is massive into that show.
Right.
And he told me that it never ever ended.
It didn't. But they did.
Is it true?
write- No, it's true. It didn't end, but they did write the final episode, and for whatever reason, it got cancelled, and they just decided to stop. The final episode was written
Right.
And I think that even some of the voice pieces were recorded, but they did end it, and somebody's animated it, and it's on YouTube as a whole episode.
Oh, thank God for that.
And I think it's literally done in the same animation style. So yeah, if you want to watch it, just look. Just tap
wow.
in.
Which is better than what we get in this day and age when they just can't.
They just cancel it now.
Cancel something. Yeah.
I mean, this is only within recent years, but yeah, I've still yet to watch it myself. I haven't seen it, but
yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons. So this is why it ties in with Nightmare, and it would have made the list, but I have to put all the other things on there.
Sure.
Above it. But D&D was one of those ones. I just went home and watched it. And I think it possibly, so I say it a lot, but Doctor Who was sci-fi. D&D, the cartoon, is what gave me my love of Lord of the Rings.
The fantasy.
And all of the fantasy stuff was because of that one cartoon.
And again, the opening, I believe, was like under 30 seconds, but it just pushed everything into one. Like, obviously, you got the ride.
It was a self-contained
the dragons.
story.
Yeah, it was just so well, gave you that theme, didn't it?
And Venger, the character of Venger, was another one of those villains where he was frightening. He was actually a scary sort of boogeyman type character.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like the sort of come for you in your sleep.
And wasn't there the dragon with the different head, different type? They used to scare me.
Yeah, Tiamat, the dragon. He summoned Tiamat, and you thought, oh my God, they're all going to die.
You knew shit was about to get real.
There's going to be a battle here, yeah.
Are you looking forward to the movie?
I am.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Definitely.
We all need to go watch that.
Is a movie
Do you think it's going to be good?
There's going to be a
I think it'll be fun, dude.
Is it connected to the show, though?
It's more, I think, that they've taken the mythos of the board game, but I think they've taken the elements of what made D&D the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to include it in there.
I think we should do it. And then afterwards, let's dish out Lords of Waterdeep. Have a cracking game of that.
Yeah.
That's nice. Nice. Good
So
shout, sir.
list, yeah.
Good shout. I don't have any because mine was already on the previous
I've got one last
episode.
one.
Go for it.
Pirates of Blackwater.
Oh, Pirates of Darkwater. Yes,
yeah.
that was a good show,
awesome.
man. Noichi Tat. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's all that geezer used to say. He used to piss me off, man. I was like a kid, but he's going to say it. There you go. But Mighty Max as well. Do you remember Mighty Max?
Mighty Max, yeah.
There was a toy of it, and then they turned it into the
fucking
cartoon.
toys of that.
Yeah, come on, man. That was so good. I think we'll leave it at that. Coward, thank you for coming back for the episode, taking the time to do this, mate.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having
Really
me.
appreciate it. And obviously, the rest of the guys here, thank you for taking the time and doing it as well.
No. Thank you, Ian.
Please, can we have you back again for more episodes?
Yes,
Love to have you
absolutely.
back, mate.
Yeah, I've loved doing this. Please have me back.
I hope you had a good time. Yeah, and let's do it, mate. Even more, mate, please. So we're into there, guys. If you like what you listen to, follow us on
Facebook at the M.T.V.B podcast.
or
On Instagram at M.T.V.B podcast.
or
TikTok at M.T.V.B podcast 197.
this is Ant-Man, followed by
Howard, otherwise known as H.
Gal, aka Grey Fox. Not Gay Fox.
Box Standard Dave.
saying good night, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.